Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Desert Lord. Random super divine level talent at the start. Chapter 31. Then, Lin Yi went to the livestock farm again. He had just poured the bottle of rapid animal growth potion into the sapphire lake, but now it is full again and can be used again. The ranch houses nearly 800 desert coyotes and more than 600 moose. With the help of the animal's rapid growth potion, both the moose and the desert coyote have undergone very magical changes. The first is the rapid expansion of body size. Many young moose and coyotes reach adulthood quickly. Some female wolves and female moose even have full bellies. Clearly pregnant. Secondly, there is the level. Most of the adult desert coyotes have achieved level breakthroughs and have been promoted to around level 3. There are even 7 elite coyotes of level 5. This speed is faster than hunting monsters. As for those moose, there is no level improvement. Because moose are ordinary animals, while desert coyotes are monsters. I got pregnant out of thin air and my level increased dramatically. This is really cool. If you randomly find a military structure like Warcraft in the future, you may be able to put it into the livestock farm for secondary training. As soon as such thoughts came up, a message from the Lord system appeared in Lin Yi's mind. The recruited troops cannot be raised through the livestock farm, and the only ones that can be raised are the native monsters or monsters from the Holy Continent. Animal. Closing square bracket. Quote. Lin Yi rolled his eyes. He replied so quickly, obviously because he didn't want him to get stuck. But it doesn't matter. Just catch more local monsters in the future. Especially the Forest of Life next door, which is a paradise for monsters, and there are all kinds of monsters there. It is said that even giant dragons exist. He could find an opportunity to capture a group of monsters with pure blood and high growth potential, and cultivate them intensively. At that time, he can still have a large army of Warcraft. As for the loyalty of Warcraft, there is no need to worry. Livestock farms can solve this problem very well. Just like those desert coyotes, seeing him now was like seeing his biological father. They were incredibly obedient. Return to the town hall. The little maid Sally has prepared dinner. Newly added moose meat and fruit wine, very rich. During the meal, Sally told Lin Yi with a happy face that she successfully condensed the magic vortex in her body, which meant that she officially became a professional. This is good news for Lin Yi. It's a pity that his Royal Cavalry Regiment has not been able to release a skill book so far. Not to mention the Thunder and Frost Magic skill books, there has never been one professional skill book of any kind. Skill books are special items. The explosion rate is countless times lower than that of Lord Gold coins. It's purely luck. Lin Yi thought for a while, then communicated with the Lord system and asked, is there any other way to obtain the skill book? Soon, he got a response. Lords can build territorial buildings, professional towers. In the professional towers, the people under your command can understand and learn the skills of related professions. Closing square bracket. Professional tower. Lin Yi said again. All talk and no practice, you come up with a task to reward drawings. This time, the Lord system was silent for a long time. Reply to Lin Yi later. At the request of the Lord, a special task is launched to reward professional tower architectural drawings. Task content. Have 10,000 territorial citizens, excluding recruited troops. Closing square bracket. Task reward. Special territory building, a professional tower drawing. Closing square bracket. Is this okay? Lin Yi looked surprised. He was mentally prepared to be rejected by the system. But he didn't expect that the system was so smart that it actually started a mission for him. Do you have 10,000 citizens? This task is difficult to say, but it is not easy to say easy. It would be easy in a human kingdom with a large population, but here is the sparsely populated Karar Desert. We can only let the Royal Cavalry Regiment continue to expand the hunting range to see if they can encounter other Sand People strongholds. Lin Yi also asked the 3 Sand People leaders. Is there any news about other Sand People? The response was a unanimous shake of the head. Since being ruled by the Black Wind tribe, they have been cut off from the Sand People strongholds in other areas. The only one that is known as Bastion City, which is the largest gathering point of Sand People within a radius of 200 kilometers. As for whether there are other Sand People strongholds around the area where the Golden Oasis is located, they said they were unclear. Therefore, Lin Yi could only place his hopes on the Royal Cavalry Regiment who were out hunting. Lin Yi said to the maid Sally, "Before you get the skill book, you should continue to stay at home and meditate. Drink more fairy spring water. That thing can increase the magic power in your body." "Okay, Master." Sally nodded her head obediently. She wasn't actually interested in going out hunting. Even the desire to improve the professional level is not strong. What she likes to do most is to stay in the territory and take care of her young master's daily life. Late at night, Lin Yi didn't feel sleepy at all. He waited for 12 o'clock to arrive. I pray that the refreshed super divine level Lord Talent can randomly give him a more powerful unit. He doesn't think about the divine level arms. He would be satisfied as long as he could get a title level unit. The waiting time was a bit long, and the pretty maid Sally seemed to have noticed her young master's uneasy heart, so she accompanied her young master for a walk by the sapphire lake. The moonlight pours on the lake, creating layers of golden sparkles. Groups of silver-tailed fish swim in the lake, outlining wisps of silver light. There seemed to be many pearls or gems scattered at the bottom of the lake, shining brightly in the moonlight. The night view of Golden Oasis is even more beautiful. The maid Sally suddenly asked, "Master, do you remember Miss Anne?" Lin Yi said, "Of course I remember. Anne is a very kind, noble girl." Maid Sally chuckled. "Miss Anne likes the young master very much. If it weren't for family matters, the young master must have been with Miss Anne." "That's impossible to say," Lin Yi said with a smile. "I prefer Anne's sister Angie." During that party, Miss Angie's beautiful singing voice shocked all the nobles. The maid Sally retorted, "The young master must have taken a fancy to Miss Angie's figure. Her exaggerated breasts and mermaid-like curves are loved by all men." Hearing this, Lin Yi suddenly grinned. Angie and Anne, a pair of beautiful, generous and knowledgeable twin sisters. "I'm afraid I won't see him again in a short time. The time has finally come." Just after 12 o'clock, Lin Yi's super divine level Lord Talent entered the cooling period for 1 week again. Almost at the same time, a prompt message from the Lord system appeared in his mind. "Congratulations, Lord, your talent myriad races favored has been refreshed. Closing square bracket. You have obtained a military building, a golden griffin lair. Closing square bracket. Will it be built? Closing square bracket. Construction requirements, none. Closing square bracket. Golden griffin lair. Level. High level. Building information. This is a building that can recruit golden griffins. As a high-level air combat unit, golden griffins have powerful combat capabilities to dominate the battlefield. Closing square bracket. High-level troops. Lin Yi was a little disappointed. The title unit he prayed for did not appear. But the good news is that the golden griffin is an air combat unit. This is a very big advantage. In the Karar Desert, which is full of yellow sand and gobi, the golden griffin can perfectly utilize this advantage. Whether it's a quick march, a surprise attack, or spying on the enemy, it's all very good. Immediately, Lin Yi built the golden griffin lair, placed next to the royal knight training ground. Soon, a bird's nest-shaped building with a diameter of tens of meters appeared in front of Lin Yi, and in the center of the bird's nest stood a very realistic golden griffin statue. Eagle's head and wings, lion's body and claws. It looks very powerful. Golden griffin lair. Level 1. Recruitable troops. Golden griffin. Recruitment quantity. 5 golden griffins can be recruited every day. Closing square bracket. Upgrade requirements. 1,000 gold coins. Special reminder 1. Upgrade the level of the military building to recruit more military units. Closing square bracket. Special reminder 2. The Golden Griffin is a mounted pet type of Warcraft unit. Equipped with suitable knights, the combat effectiveness of the Golden Griffin can be greatly improved. Looking at the information about the Golden Griffin, Lin Yi's face finally showed a smile. Royal Knight plus Golden Griffin, isn't this a perfect combination? It's just that the recruitment numbers are a little lower. A first-level Golden Griffin nest can only recruit 5 Golden Griffins every day. When the Royal Knight training ground is at level 1, 10 Royal Knights can be recruited every day. A full half is missing. This shows that the higher the level of arms, the smaller the number of recruits. But the upgrade needs are the same. There is no sudden increase in upgrade consumption. Lin Yi is ready to upgrade the level of Golden Griffin lair. He now has more than 5,000 territory gold coins in reserve, which can upgrade the Golden Griffin lair to level 3 and then recruit more Golden Griffins. But at this moment, a series of information prompts suddenly appeared. It is detected that there are 2 military buildings in the territory that are highly matched. Closing square bracket. Turn on the military building fusion function. Closing square bracket. Congratulations, Lord, you can choose to merge the military building, the Golden Griffin's lair, and the Royal Knight training ground, and then obtain a more powerful military building. Closing square bracket. The new building after the fusion is 1 level lower than the highest level military building before the fusion. Closing square bracket. For example, among the 2 military buildings, the Royal Knight training ground has the highest level, which is level 4. The level of the merged new unit building will be reduced to level 3. Closing square bracket. To make up for the losses caused by fusion, all the units that the Lord has recruited will be upgraded to new units. Closing square bracket. Excuse me, Lord, do you want to choose a fusion arms building? Closing square bracket. Whether is the integration of arms actually such a good thing? Lin Yi couldn't help but feel pleasantly surprised. Let's not talk about other things, just the fusion of 2 military buildings into one. The gold coin resources saved for him are not a small amount. In addition, the new units after fusion can become stronger. Integration must be integrated, but before that, I have to recruit the troops first. Lord's system, in order to make up for what he called losses, he said that he would upgrade all the recruited troops to new troops. He was not sure after this recruitment whether he could continue to recruit after the military structures were integrated. But if you can, then the troops he is recruiting now are equivalent to free prostitution. No matter whether you succeed or not, you have to try. Thinking of this, Lin Yi immediately recruited the new day's troops, 100 Royal Knights and 5 Golden Griffins. Then he returned to the Lord system and chose the fusion of arms and buildings. Soon, under a bright golden light, the 2 military buildings quickly completed the integration. It can be seen that the Golden Griffin nest he just built has disappeared. The area of Royal Knight training ground has also become smaller, the level has been reduced by 1 level. Nothing else has changed much. The only change is that there is an additional bird's nest-shaped building on one side of the training square, which is the disappeared Golden Griffin nest. Royal Griffin Knight training ground. Level 3. Recruitable troops. Royal Griffin Knight. Recruitment quantity. 30 Royal Griffin Knights can be recruited every day. Closing square bracket. Upgrade requirements. 5,000 gold coins. Special reminder. By increasing the level of the military building, you can recruit more military units. Closing square bracket. Lin Yi decisively spent 5,000 gold coins to upgrade the Royal Griffin Knight training ground to level 4. After level 4, the number of Royal Griffin Knights that can be recruited every day becomes 50. He chose to recruit again. But I received a prompt from Lord System. Today's recruitment times have been used up and no more troops can be recruited. Lin Yi was immediately disappointed. But soon, he became happy again. Because just now he had recruited 100 Royal Knights and 5 Golden Griffins. Based on the number of recruits at the level 4 Royal Griffin Knights training ground, he was equivalent to having prostituted 55 Royal Griffin Knights for nothing. Although it was not full of whoring, it was still part of it. He expressed contentment. On the other side, the Lord system, which did not continue to cause glitches for Lin Yi, also dropped dazzling golden light, covering all the Royal Knights in the territory, plus 5 Golden Lions. Visible to the naked eye, Golden Griffins appeared out of thin air. Each one is huge, and wearing heavy armor. Even the head, beak, claws, are all wrapped in armor with a metallic luster. Looks very aggressive. At the same time, the Royal Knights riding on their backs also became taller, and the knight's sword in their hands turned into a knight's spear that was more than 3 meters long. When the golden light dissipated, hundreds of Royal Griffin Knights suddenly appeared in Lin Yi's territory. Previously, he had more than 300 Royal Knights under his command. After the recruitment just now, the number of Royal Knights exceeded 400. The total number is about 450. Now, these Royal Knights and the 5 lonely Golden Griffins have all been promoted to become more powerful Royal Griffin Knights. The overall war strength has increased by at least 10 times. A house near the town hall. A figure ran out in a panic, holding a magic wand in his hand. It was Lin Yi's old housekeeper Huodin. He was meditating and practicing just now, but was awakened by bursts of cries that suddenly appeared in the territory. It was thought that the territory had been invaded by an extremely large number of monsters. Then he rushed out of the resident's house in panic. As soon as he came outside, Hodern saw the majestic royal griffin knights covered in scales and armor. He was so frightened that he almost threw a bursting fireball. Fortunately, he held it back. If you look closely, those sitting on the backs of golden griffins are clearly the royal knights of the territory. This made him take a breath of air. Seeing his young master standing in the training square with his little maid, he hurriedly walked over and asked, "Master, what is going on with these royal knights? Those monsters that look like griffins have become the knights of the royal knights." Favor. Creatures such as griffins also exist in the Holy Continent. However, the old butler Huodin has stayed in the Tulip family all his life, so he has never seen the real thing. He had only seen griffins in the Warcraft genealogy atlas. Lin Yi said with a smile, "No, they are griffins, and they are golden griffins with more powerful combat power. The golden griffin is an advanced version of the ordinary griffin. It is almost equivalent to the relationship between the Royal Holy Inquisition Knight and the Royal Knight. Compared with ordinary griffins, golden griffins are larger in size, with an average adult length of about 6 meters, and as their levels increase, their sizes will continue to increase dramatically. The second is the feathers and hair on the body. The wing feathers of ordinary griffins are black, and the lion's fur is light yellow. As for the golden griffin, both the feathers on its wings and the hair on the lion's body are all golden in color. It looks like it's made of gold, showing nobility and class. In terms of combat effectiveness and growth potential, ordinary griffins and golden griffins are not at the same level at all. By the gods, the old butler Huodin said with a trembling voice, even in the royal capital of the kingdom of Stanlow, griffins are very rare, let alone golden griffins. I heard that they are only found in the distant kingdom of Clelia. There is an established golden griffin legion, with a scale of more than 5,000, and is known as one of the most powerful legions in the Holy Continent. Soon it won't be, Lin Yi said. When the level of our military building increases, we can recruit more royal griffin knights. Not to mention 5,000, 50,000 or 500,000 is not a problem. He made a rough estimate. Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground, as a merged high-level military building, it should be able to recruit 3,000 Royal Griffin Knights every day after reaching level 9. 3,000 a day, what is this concept? In just 2 days, his Royal Griffin Knights Legion was able to crush the so-called strongest legion in the Holy Continent of the Kingdom of Clelia. After 10 days it will be 30,000. It can reach hundreds of thousands in just over 3 months. Hearing Lin Yi's words, the old housekeeper Huodin almost fainted. It was a swoon of excitement and happiness. He couldn't imagine how terrifyingly powerful the Golden Oasis would be if it really had 500,000 Royal Griffin Knights. I'm afraid that even if the giant dragon clan comes, they will have to put away their dragon wings. Don't dare to make mistakes in the Golden Oasis. At this moment, at the Sand People's resettlement place in Sapphire Lake, more than 2,000 Sand People were kneeling on the ground with enthusiastic expressions. They continued to praise their lord. The method of creating magical creatures out of thin air was something they had seen with their own eyes. This is great God-given power. Only the Lord who is the messenger of God can do it. They worshipped and awed. In the hearts of these Sand People, Lin Yi has almost been regarded as their god of faith, and his status is no less than that of the true god Brewster who founded the Sand People Kingdom. Under the orders of Lin Yi, hundreds of Royal Griffin Knights gathered in the training square. The huge golden griffins folded their wings, prostrated on the ground, and lowered their heads in the direction of Lin Yi. Standing next to them is their knight. The Royal Knights also knelt down and pledged their loyalty to Lin Yi. Lin Yi's eyes swept across, and finally he looked at the row of Royal Holy Knights standing at the front, with a total number of about 50. Originally, he only had 15 Royal Holy Knights. After the recruitment just now and the upgrading of other Royal Knights by the Lord system, more than 30 advanced versions of the Royal Holy Knights appeared. The mounts of these Royal Holy Knights are also golden griffins, but their size is obviously larger. Royal Holy Griffin Knight. Grade. High-level arms. Initial level. Level 9. Growth potential. Peak of transcendent. Characteristics. Loyalty, bravery, fighting for glory. It's still a high-level soldier. It has not reached the level of a crown-ranked soldier. But both the initial level and growth potential have been qualitatively improved. In addition, there is another feature, Fight for Glory. Lin Yi clicked on other Royal Griffin Knight information templates to view and found that they also added the feature of Fighting for Glory. The difference is that the initial level of an ordinary Royal Griffin Knight is level 7, and the growth potential is the primary level of Transcendent. Growth potential is a golden key given to arms by the Lord system, but it is also a shackle. It limits the growth path of arms. For example, the Royal Griffin Knight can no longer gain experience by killing enemies after being promoted to the primary level of Transcendent. If you want to go further, you must achieve bloodline evolution and become a Royal Holy Griffin Knight. At that time, you can continue to upgrade until you reach the peak of Transcendent. This is the yoke. Breaking the shackles requires evolution. As for the golden key, there will be no shackles on the promotion of arms before reaching the growth potential level. As long as you have enough experience, you can be promoted directly. It is simple and crude. The native intelligent creatures are different. Their breakthroughs are affected by various factors, especially the perception of realm, which is very important. Every breakthrough is very difficult. There are many so-called geniuses who remain at a low level throughout their lives because of insufficient understanding of the realm and insufficient practice experience. It's like a local genius being tested to have the appearance of a demigod. As a result, due to various reasons, it is normal to be unable to move forward after reaching the saint rank or even the transcendent rank. It would be different if it were Lin Yi's army. As long as the potential reaches a demigod, one can definitely be promoted to a demigod. This is why the military units are divided into high level, middle level, low level, as well as grand rank and divine level. The higher the rank, the more powerful the troops are. Feature: Fight for Glory. Effect: when fighting, the unit has a chance to enter a state of risking life and death, and the combat effectiveness is at least doubled. The more intense the battle, the higher the probability. Closing square bracket. Comma. A pretty awesome feature. Lin Yi is very satisfied with the characteristics of this unit of the Royal Knights. The previous characteristics, loyalty and bravery and fearlessness, have no combat effectiveness increase. The former is even more useless. Because under the constraints of the Lord system, all arms have absolute loyalty to Lin Yi. Regardless of this trait, the Royal Knights are loyal to Lin Yi. The latter makes the Royal Knights more heroic on the battlefield. Even if they lose the war, the Royal Knights camp will not collapse. To be honest, this feature is okay. But in comparison, Fight for Glory is even more awesome. At least double the increase in combat power, which is enough for his Royal Knights to sweep through enemies of the same level on the battlefield, and it is not impossible to even challenge enemies of higher levels. After all, the Royal Knights no longer fight alone. Their pet, the Golden Griffin, is theoretically more powerful than them in combat. Because the Golden Griffin itself is a high-level unit, and the Royal Knight is only a middle-level unit without the Golden Griffin. Only the advanced version of the Royal Holy Knight has reached the level of high-level arms. If singled out, the Royal Knights can't beat the Golden Griffin. Now that the two arms are formed, they are naturally stronger. Lin Yi said to the old butler Huodin on the side. With more than 400 Royal Griffin Knights, plus nearly 59th level Royal Holy Order Griffin Knights, it is not a problem to kill the Lizardman tribe. I plan to launch an attack on the Lizard tribe tomorrow. The fighting in the next few days will be around that patch of Sarin. According to the Sand People, there are a considerable number of magical beasts hidden in the Sand Forest, and these must be eliminated. The old butler Huodin nodded. With air combat mounts like the Golden Griffin, the Royal Cavalry Regiment can easily transmigrate the vast sand sea and enter the sand forest area dozens of kilometers away. If it were a desert coyote, his legs would be broken. It can be seen from here. The strategic value of the Golden Griffin has exceeded its military level. Even if it is a crown-ranked unit, if it has 2 legs, it will definitely not be able to outrun the Golden Griffin. Flying is the innate advantage of the Golden Griffin. Lin Yi continued. After taking down the Lizardman tribe, you can send some of the Royal Griffin Knights to patrol the surrounding area to see if they can find other Sand People strongholds. The old butler Huodin asked, Master, are you planning to recruit more sand people to become territorial people? Lin Yi nodded. This is very important. Whether it's now or later. If we want to build a kingdom in the Golden Oasis, how can we do it without hundreds of thousands of people under our command? The old butler Huodin said, if you establish a kingdom in the Kalar Desert, you will most likely face attacks from the Sand People Kingdom and other desert alien kingdoms. It's something you have to go through sooner or later. Lin Yi said with a smile. When the Golden Oasis really develops, even if there is no movement in those kingdoms, I will take the initiative to declare war on them. After all, the world is limited and resources are limited. If you want to become stronger and occupy more territory, you can only go through war. Old housekeeper Huodin also agreed with this. With the rapid development of the Golden Oasis and the appearance of various miracles, he became more and more supportive of his young master's war development plan. He even hoped that his young master could conquer the Karar Desert as soon as possible. Then he led the army of the Golden Oasis into the kingdom of Stanlo, kicked the fatuous old king off the throne, and then settled the humiliation suffered by the Tulip family with the nobles of the royal capital one by one. Master, tomorrow I will go to the Lizardman tribe with the Royal Cavalry Regiment. Good. Lin Yi did not refuse. He saw the old butler Huodin's eagerness to improve his strength. Perhaps it was because dozens of Royal Holy Griffin Knights suddenly appeared in the territory. Each of these knights had reached level 9, immediately equaling the level of the old butler Huodin. This also made the old housekeeper Huodin anxious. Regardless of whether my young master will recruit more powerful troops in the future. At least for now, he is still useful. You can contribute to the Golden Oasis on the battlefield through your own efforts. In the future, when he is completely unable to keep up with the war pace of the Territory Legion, it will not be too late to retire and take care of the daily affairs of the territory. The night passed quickly. The Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment set out early in the morning. Hundreds of huge golden griffins flapped their wings and soared into the sky, flying like a golden torrent towards the sand forest dozens of kilometers away. There is a royal knight riding on the back of each golden griffin. Each of them holds a knight's gun that is more than 3 meters long. With one shot, no matter whether it is a lizard man, a jackal, or a monster in the desert, it will all be pierced by the big gun. Although the Holy Continent is a transcendent world, the knight profession is still very powerful. The Sand People finished their breakfast and started a new day's work. Their breakfast was far from as rich as the one carefully prepared by the maid Sally, but it was definitely filling. This is already very happy for the Sand People who used to go hungry for 3 days. Therefore, they work very hard. Today, about 2,000 Sand People are divided into 3 working groups. One group goes to mine stone, one group cuts wood, and the other group goes to the salt lake to dry salt. Sun-making salt is a new task assigned to them by Lin Yi. Salt is a daily consumable product with a huge demand. Coupled with various reasons such as relatively few resources and the relatively low social productivity of this world low grade, the price of salt is also quite high. It's basically a profitable industry. Otherwise, there would be no human caravans traveling all the way to the Karar Desert to mine salt lakes. Lin Yi's salt lake mining is also one of the economic industries that intends to turn salt into a golden oasis. The profit is definitely not as high as elf spring water, but you can make some money. For Lin Yi, the more gold coins the better. In the woods, the Sand People were busy working. There were shouts of hard work everywhere. The jackal Agu also participated. This cunning Null isn't good at physical work, but he's a master at boosting morale. The female sand dwellers in the resettlement area are also working hard, sewing clothes with wolf skins and cloth. The entire oasis was filled with laughter and a prosperous scene. Morning. Maid Sally meditates in a small room in the backyard. Next door is the elf spring, which always exudes rich life and natural magic. Practicing in this environment can be said to be twice the result with half the effort. Lin Yu is building his deck chair in the yard. There was nothing else for him to do. No work, no meditation, no hunting. Create a comfortable lounge chair to pass the boring time when you don't have a mobile phone to play with. Not long after, Lin Yi suddenly felt a large amount of experience pouring into his body. Lin Yi immediately knew that his Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment had launched an attack on the Lizardman tribe. At the same time, In the center of Saran, dozens of kilometers away, a fierce battle was breaking out near an almost semi-dry riverbed. The two sides fighting were the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment under Lin Yi, and the other was the Lizardman tribe occupying this area. In terms of numbers alone, the Lizardman tribe was at an absolutely overwhelming advantage. About 10 times that of the Royal Griffin Knight. In other words, the number of Lizardmen participating in the war reached an astonishing number of more than 4,000. And the level is not low. Although most are still at the low level, there are hundreds of Lizardmen who have reached the level of intermediate elites, and there are even many high-level leader-level Lizardmen. Such strength is already considered very powerful in this area. No wonder even the Black Wind tribe didn't dare to take advantage of the Lizardman tribe. If a head-on battle begins, the Black Wind tribe's Jackal Cavalry Legion will definitely be killed by the Lizardman tribe, and even their mounts, the Coyotes, will become food for the Lizardmen. Of course, the Black Wind tribe has become history. The one currently at war with the Lizardman tribe is Lin Yi's Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment. The ending is naturally different. Even though the number of Lizardmen is about 10 times that of the Royal Griffin Knights, they are no match for the Royal Griffin Knights. A collective dive of the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment can cause huge casualties to the Lizardman tribe. Even those Lizardman leaders who are comparable to high-level professionals cannot withstand the big guns in the hands of the Royal Holy Seal Griffin Knights. The battle lasted for less than half an hour, and the riverbed was covered with a large number of Lizardman corpses. Lizardmen are half-orcs, a close relative of the orcs. There are absolutely no human features in them. At most, it has only evolved to be able to stand upright and walk on two legs like humans. When lying down or crawling, Lizardmen are not much different from lizards in the animal family. Their appearance is very similar to Komodo dragons. The difference is, they have considerable intelligence. And he has mastered the ability to build tools and use tools. This also makes them classified as half-orcs. Near the central riverbed, there are more than 30 stone houses and wooden houses of various sizes, which are the Lizard People's tribe, but these houses are only used by the upper echelons of the Lizard People tribe. The vast majority of Lizardmen do not receive such treatment. During the day, they will burrow into the mud of the riverbed, leaving only their heads exposed. At night, they bury their bodies under the yellow sand to avoid being frozen to death by the extremely low night temperatures in the desert. Compared to the gnolls, the social form of the Lizardmen is more primitive. Kill all these intruders. Ho ho ho. On the battlefield, a very strong lizard man roared. Its level has reached king level. The strength is very strong. Even in the face of the joint attack of the two Royal Holy Knights, they did not fall behind at all. It is the leader of the Lizard tribe, a newly promoted king-level professional. Half a month ago, the leader of the Lizard Man tribe was not it, but another 9th-level Lizard Man with powerful combat capabilities. Later, it was extremely lucky to break through the shackles of blood, promoted to the king level, and killed the old patriarch immediately. The strong are respected and the weak are killed. This is the tradition of almost all orc tribes. It's like a power struggle between beasts. At this time, while resisting the siege of the two Royal Holy Inquisition Knights, it ordered the Lizardmen in the tribe to launch a more violent attack on the Royal Griffin Knights. Looking down from a high altitude, it can be clearly seen that the Royal Cavalry Regiment has been completely surrounded by the Lizardmen. In the nearby sand forest, Lizardmen emerged from all directions from time to time and joined the battlefield. Almost every Royal Griffin Knight was besieged by multiple or even a dozen Lizardmen, giving people the feeling that two fists were unable to defeat four hands. But the fact is that the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment has dominated the entire battlefield. The Lizardmen's siege seemed terrifying, but it did not threaten them. Every time the knights thrust out their big spears, a Lizardman would surely fall. As for the Golden Griffin they were riding, it was even more insane. The Golden Griffin's sharp beak and sharp claws can easily tear the Lizardmen into pieces on the battlefield. Even other Lizardmen at elite level cannot resist it. The Lizardman has a thin layer of scales attached to his body. This enhances their own defenses. But it was unable to resist the attack from the Golden Griffin. So far in the battle, the Golden Griffins have killed more Lizardmen than the Royal Knights. There was a dull thud. A hurricane swept through. The leader of the Lizardmen was blown away by the wings of a huge griffin. After all, it could not withstand the siege of the two royal holy Griffin knights. After all, it's not 1 versus 2, but 1 versus 4. The two golden griffins participating in the battle were more fierce than their knights, and their power was so terrifying that they could smash a large blue stone with one claw. The leader of the lizardmen could only contend with two royal holy knights. But after being paired with two golden griffins, it would be difficult for it to resist. He was quickly defeated. Intruder, the leader of the lizard people roared, Master Charles will not let you go. No matter where you come from, as long as you stay in this area, Master Charles will definitely find you, kill you, and avenge the blood of my tribe. Who are you talking about, Charles? The old butler Huodine came over holding a magic wand. Let me go. The lizardman patriarch looked like an ugly and fat Komodo dragon, struggling on the ground. At the same time, his body was pierced by two knights' spears, which also made him feel miserable. It opened its mouth full of sharp teeth and roared. Master Charles is the real ruler of this Sarin, it is the uncrowned king of the underground world. His servants are spread throughout every corner of this area. He's already targeting you. The flames of revenge have long been ignited, and all of you will die. Quote. Hodern continued to ask Charles where he came from, but the lizardman patriarch never answered directly, and kept shouting, all of you are going to die. This guy is crazy. The old butler Huodine didn't ask any more questions. As soon as he finished speaking, two large spears pierced the head of the lizardman clan leader. The army was defeated like a mountain. This sentence very vividly describes the lizardman legion on the battlefield. As the leader of their tribe was killed, the morale of the lizardman army suddenly plummeted to 0, and all the lizardmen were running away frantically. When escaping, they get down on all fours. It looks very much like a frightened Komodo dragon. The long and thick tail was still swaying desperately from side to side. This allows them to maintain balance while running away quickly. However, no matter how fast they escape, they cannot escape as fast as the golden griffin with wings. The golden griffins flying high in the sky turned their sharp eagle eyes, locking all the lizardmen in the field of vision, and then swooped down with the royal knights on their backs. Soon, one after another, the lizardmen were grabbed high into the sky by the golden griffin's sharp claws. Before he could scream twice, he was torn into pieces again and thrown from a high altitude. The sky was filled with fallen lizard man corpses. The picture is shocking to the extreme. When the monsters in the nearby sand forest saw this scene, they were so frightened that they ran away, fearing that if they were too late, they would be targeted by the hunters high in the sky and become the next dead souls. Hundreds of royal griffin knights searched the sand forest area within a 10-kilometer radius. Caught almost all the lizardmen who escaped. It wasn't until after several searches that no lizardmen were found, that the royal griffin knights withdrew their troops and gathered at the central riverbed that they had captured. The reason why the central riverbed is said to be the richest area of this sand forest is because it contains precious water sources. Although the water is turbid and filled with the remains of various animals and monsters, it can be called a mouthful of 10 billion bacteria, but it still has a fatal attraction for desert creatures. Moreover, there are a large number of desert fruit plants such as corn trees, date palm trees and so on growing around here. The lizardman tribe uses these things to attract prey and then eat it. The lizard people who occupied the central riverbed lived a very leisurely life, so much so that the tribe's population expanded to thousands. But now, the lizardman tribe is gone. Its new owner becomes Lin Yi. Finished cleaning the battlefield. The old butler Huodine looked at the lizardman corpses all over the place and muttered to himself with a headache, what should I do with these lizardman corpses? Do them anatomy, or just burn them on fire? Thousands of lizardmen can dissect massive amounts of lizard meat. But the problem is, no normal person would eat this kind of thing. Just an ordinary lizard. It tastes pretty good when roasted. But the lizardmen are neither ordinary lizards nor monsters, but belong to the orc lineage. Eating lizardman meat is already challenging the bottom line of human food rations. At this time, two burly royal holy knights came over. Next to them, there was a golden griffin with a body length of nearly 8 meters. It can be called a behemoth. One of the royal holy knights said, Old mage, you don't need to bother to dissect these lizard people. You can take them back intact and throw them into the livestock farm to be used as rations for desert coyotes. Hearing this, the old butler Huodine's eyes suddenly lit up. This is a good idea. It not only avoids waste, but also solves the problem of food rations for thousands of desert coyotes. Yesterday was a magical day. There were actually a large number of female coyotes getting pregnant at the same time in the livestock farm. What's even more amazing is that in just one night, the female coyotes gave birth to hundreds of young coyotes. This also brings the total number of desert coyotes in the territory to directly exceed 1,000. In addition, the number of raised moose has also increased significantly. Then take them all back. The old butler Huodin nodded. When looking at the two royal holy knights, he had an envious look on his face. These two royal holy knights have been promoted to king level. Including their riding pet, the golden griffin, has also reached the king level. This is a rich reward after killing the lizardmen leader and a large number of lizardmen. He has been practicing for decades, and now he is only a 9th level magician. However, the two royal holy inquisition knights who were just summoned have been promoted to king level. Needless to say, he is envious in his heart. The old butler Huodin said. The young master ordered that after the battle, a team of royal griffin knights be sent to patrol the nearby sand sea to see if they can find the sand people's stronghold. Follow the Lord's will. The two royal holy knights saluted respectfully. Soon, a dozen royal griffin knights soared into the sky riding golden griffins, flying in all directions with the lizardman tribe as the center. The other royal griffin knights returned to the golden oasis with the bodies of the lizardmen. It took several trips back and forth to transport all the thousands of lizardman corpses. Golden oasis. The backyard of the town hall. The old butler Huodin was shocked again when he looked at his young master whose magic power surged around him. Lin Yi said with a smile, "Don't be surprised. When I step into the realm of demigods in the future, or even be promoted to an immortal god, it won't be too late for you to be surprised." The immortal gods dare not imagine. The old butler Huodin said, "The young master has been promoted to a king-level professional at such a young age. Even in the Royal Capital Magic Academy of the Kingdom of Stanlow, he is a rare genius." "I'm not a genius. I am the Lord." Lin Yi shook his head and said, "The stronger the territorial troops under my command are, the stronger I will be." The old butler Huodin said with emotion, "If the Earl and the Countess knew, they would be very happy." "Let's not mention this yet." Quote, Lin Yi waved his hand and said, "Now that the lizard people tribe has been destroyed, let the Royal Griffin cavalry soldiers continue to clear the sand forest. If you encounter aliens and arrest them, I want to know as soon as possible who the Charles mentioned by the lizard people leader is. What's the origin?" "Okay, master." The old butler Huodin nodded. Then he left the backyard and set off again with the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment. Lin Yi counted the gains of this war. There are more than 6,700 gold coins and various equipment. Gold coin bags 15 bags, including 11 small bags containing gold coins and 4 medium bags containing gold coins. There are also 7 blueprints and a professional skills book. All the drawings are drawings on the number of units. Each drawing can recruit a certain number of territorial troops. As for the professional skills book, it was a small surprise for Lin Yi. According to the old butler Huodin, this professional skill book was discovered by the lizard man leader of the king level. Could it be said that only by killing enemies that have reached the king level can the skill book be revealed? Lin Yi asked about this issue, Lord System. The answer is that killing any enemy may explode special items including professional skill book, but when the enemy reaches king level, the explosion rate will increase significantly. Professional skills book. Skill name, 3 consecutive cuts. Level, king level. Skill effect. Use the long sword as a weapon to slash the enemy 3 times in a row. The damage of the 3 slashes are 145%, 200%, and 350% of the base damage value respectively. Applicable occupations: warrior, assassin, knight. Special reminder: Lord professionals are not restricted from learning a very strong skill. Especially in the 3rd section of the slash, the damage actually reached 300% of the basic damage value, which is simply abnormal. If ordinary professionals get this skill, they can use it as a trump card to suppress the bottom of the box. The weak defeating the strong is not a problem. After Lin Yi thought for a moment, he learned this skill book. The royal knights in the territory all have exclusive knight combat skills, and they become more powerful as the level increases, so there is no need for this professional skill book. On the contrary, he, the Lord, can learn and use warrior skills, knight skills, magic skills, priest skills, etc. Although he prefers to be a magician, there is something good to say. If you have many skills but don't overwhelm yourself, if you don't learn, you will learn in vain. What if it suddenly comes in handy one day? Then, Lin Yi looked at the 7 drawings on the number of arms. He didn't use it immediately. Because he has learned from the Lord system that the number of territorial troops recruited using that unit number drawing is directly related to the level of the military building. The higher the level of the military building, the more territorial troops you can recruit using blueprints. Therefore, Lin Yi plans to upgrade that Royal Griffin Knight training ground later and use all 7 unit number drawings at once. Lin Yi took 15 gold coin bags and opened them all decisively. Among them, 11 small gold coin bags yielded a total of 1,876 gold coins. On average, 1 gold coin bag yielded approximately 170 gold coins. There were 4 gold coin bags left, with a total of 2,034 gold coins. On average, a medium gold coin bag yields 500 gold coins. About 3 times the size of small bag of gold coins. Really not bad. It's equivalent to spending nearly 4,000 gold coins in vain. Coupled with the gold coins that broke out in the war and the gold coins that I had reserved before, my current number of gold coins has directly exceeded 10,000. The gold coin reserve has increased sharply, and the next thing to do is to upgrade the territory's buildings. Lin Yi set his sights directly on his military building, Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground. Although he now meets the requirements for upgrading Altar of Luck or Fountain of Spirits, upgrading unit buildings is the most cost-effective. After all, the aura of Lucky Altar will not be refreshed for several days. As for Elf Fountain, before Miss Sophia of the Crystal Merchant Guild returns to the Golden Oasis, even rising to middle level doesn't make much sense. The key is to raise the level of arms building. No hesitation, Lin Yi decisively spent 10,000 gold coins to upgrade the military building Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground to level 5. Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground. Level 5. Recruitable troops. Royal Griffin Knight. Recruitment quantity. 100 Royal Griffin Knights can be recruited every day. Closing square bracket. Upgrade requirements. 30,000 gold coins. Special reminder. By increasing the level of the military building, you can recruit more military units. Closing square bracket. After successfully completing the upgrade at the Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground, Lin Yi took out the 7 drawings on the number of troops and used them all. Congratulations, you used 7 troop quantity drawings. You have obtained a total of 534 units of the Royal Griffin Knight. Closing square bracket. Congratulations, you triggered the Lord's talent, Awakening of Ancient Bloodline, when you recruited the Royal Griffin Knights. 74 of your Royal Griffin Knights have evolved into higher level Royal Holy Order Griffin Knights. Closing square bracket. Swish, swish, swish. Accompanied by a bright golden light. A dense crowd of Royal Griffin Knights appeared on the training square. Every Royal Griffin Knight is heroic and exudes strong fighting spirit. At the head of the group are the 74 Royal Holy Griffin Knights. Their bodies are more burly, and the golden griffins they ride are also larger, and all of them have reached level 9. With just one more step, they can reach the king level. Big money. Sure enough, war can make the territory develop faster. There are more than 500 Royal Griffin Knights in total. If they are summoned by military buildings alone, it will take 5 to 6 days. But now, he can do it with only 7 drawings of the number of arms. These unit quantity drawings were all revealed on the battlefield. Therefore, in Lin Yi's view, war is a shortcut to getting rich. Lin Yi immediately issued an order to these hundreds of Royal Griffin Knights, asking them to go to Shalin, dozens of kilometers away, to join the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment there. If the number of soldiers exceeds 1,000, it will become an army. I now have a total of 978 Royal Griffin Knights. If you're lucky, if another blueprint is revealed today, the number of Royal Griffin Knights will exceed 1,000. Even if it is not revealed, a wave of recruitment at 12 o'clock in the evening can still exceed 1,000. At that time, my Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment can be officially renamed the Legion. In addition, Special Task 1 will also be completed simultaneously. Lin Yi now has 2 special tasks. One is to have 10,000 citizens and be rewarded with a professional skilled tower blueprint. The other is a legion of regular arms with a scale of 1,000. The reward is to increase the Lord's current level by 1 level. The upper limit of the increase is the peak of King level. He is now at the beginning of King level. Moving up 1 level is King level. After reaching the King level, there are no levels from level 1 to level 9 for professionals. There are only 4 levels, namely Primary, Intermediate, Advanced, and Peak. Once you break through the peak, you can enter the next level. All that's left is this drawing. Lin Yi turned his right hand, and a random architectural drawing appeared in his hand. This is the reward for completing side mission 1. Destroy or conquer the Lizardman tribe in the Sand Forest area, and 1,000 gold coins are also awarded. You used a random building drawing. Closing square bracket. Congratulations, you have obtained a construction drawing of a special building, the Tomb of the Dragon. Comma. Special architectural drawings, Tomb of the Dragon. Information. After use, your territory will have a dragon's tomb. You can recruit undead dragon race units such as bone dragons and ghost dragons by burying the dragon's corpse in the dragon's tomb. Closing square bracket. Construction requirements. 10,000 gold coins, 10,000 units of stone. Nice one. Lin Yi looked at the drawing in his hand with a look of joy. Grave of the Dragon. Although it is not a military building, it can recruit troops like a military building, and the price paid is the corpse of the dragon. In other words, if he has a large number of dragon corpses in his hand, then he can recruit a large undead dragon race army. Bone dragons, ghost dragons, whatever you want is available. Collect this drawing first. We will build it after we have the dragon corpse. For Lin Yi now, the construction demand for 10,000 gold coins and 10,000 units of stone is still very high. Especially the 10,000 gold coins were enough to give him a headache. What's more, the dragon corpse is a treasure that can be encountered but cannot be found. It's not easy to find. When the dragon corpse is really found, it will not be too late to build this dragon tomb. Time passes quickly. It was afternoon in a blink of an eye. Thanks to the efforts of the Sand People, a large amount of wood and stone were piled on the training square. Lin Yi thought about it and built a large number of residential houses in the territory at the expense of consuming wood. Building residential buildings does not cost much. A low-level residential house only requires 100 units of wood. Soon, rows of neat houses appeared in the open space of the territory. The total number reached 600, all of which were low-level houses. Each house could accommodate 5 territorial units. 600 residences can accommodate a full 3,000 people. After building these houses, Lin Yi called in a leader of the Sand People who was cutting down trees and asked him to arrange for people to dismantle all the tents in the resettlement site after the work was completed. These 600 houses were prepared by Lin Yi for the Sand People in the territory. As for the Royal Griffin Knights under his command, they are of no use for the time being. The extremely low temperatures at night no longer affect them. After all, they are all high-level professionals. The lowest level is level 7. The Knights' physical fitness alone is enough to withstand the severe cold. Coupled with the magic power running in their bodies and their riding pet, the Golden Griffin, they don't need to consider whether it will be cold at night. Praise you, great lord. The leader of the Sand People knelt down in front of Lin Yi with great excitement. The benevolent lord not only provided them with enough food to fill their stomachs, but also used miraculous means to build shelters specifically for them, which made him burst into tears of gratitude. You deserve this. Let your people work hard too. Only those who work hard are entitled to better treatment. Lin Yi said to the leader of the Sand People. The leader of the Sand People immediately assured Lin Yi that under his supervision, no Sand People would be lazy at work, and all Sand People would be honored to contribute to the construction of the Golden Oasis. Lin Yi nodded with satisfaction. Then let the leader of the Sand People retreat. A leader, only level 4. Most of the other Sand People are not even professionals, they are just ordinary people. Even if they are fanatically loyal to themselves, they are not suitable to be organized into an army and go into battle to kill the enemy. Before contacting the Sand People, Lin Yi had considered forming an army specifically composed of Sand People. After all, there were not many sand people in the Karar Desert. But when he actually came into contact with the sand people, he immediately gave up this idea. War is not for these sand people. They are only suitable for contributing to the territory's infrastructure work. As long as he can work hard and provide him with various basic resources, he will be satisfied. Southern Sand Forest Zone. A regiment composed of nearly 1,000 Royal Griffin Knights is conducting clearing operations in the sand forest area. Everywhere he passed, there was no living thing. Whether they are ordinary desert animals or those monsters that have achieved bloodline evolution, they are all the targets of the Royal Griffin Cavalry Corps. Common animals can provide meat for the territory. In addition to highly nutritious meat, Warcraft can also contribute experience to improve the level of the Royal Griffin Knights. Naturally, kill everyone you see. This is not an inhumane bloody massacre, but this is the law of survival in the Karar Desert. Who makes the resources here less? Just as the Royal Griffin cavalry soldiers were killing everyone, a figure was running desperately near a rocky mountain range that stretched for thousands of meters in the west of the sand forest area. This figure is clearly a lizard man. It is also a tribe of lizard men from the sand forest area. At the beginning of the war, it received a call from the clan leader, but because the enemy was too powerful, its tribe was wiped out before it could enter the battlefield. It was so frightened that it quickly buried itself in the yellow sand and did not dare to move. Only then was he lucky enough to escape the pursuit of the Royal Griffin Knights. When it noticed that the Royal Griffin cavalry had withdrawn, it immediately emerged from the sand and fled towards the Rocky Mountain range without hesitation. After a while, it came to the mouth of a canyon. I could vaguely see several black and gray figures hidden in the canyon. The lizard man was immediately overjoyed and roared, "Take me to your majesty the king quickly." Hearing this, those black and gray figures also ran over. It's actually a huge rat. Each individual is more than 1 meter long. Including the tail, it is almost 2 meters. If Lin Yi were here, I'm sure he would exclaim, "What a big rat." What's going on? Several large black rats stood like humans, surrounding the lizard man. They all wore leather armor, carried quivers on their backs, and held bows and arrows in their hands. The lizard man said quickly, "An extremely powerful and evil enemy has invaded the sand forest. My tribe has been captured. All the tribesmen have been killed. I am the only one who managed to escape." Hear this. Several big black mice were also startled. He immediately led the lizard man and ran towards the depths of the canyon. After a while, they got into a narrow rock crack, passed through a winding passage, and finally reached their destination. It was clearly an underground world with an extremely large space. There are a large number of wooden buildings located inside, and the surrounding cave walls are covered with numerous caves, large and small, and almost every cave contains several large and small mice. Some are fast asleep, while others are making fire to cook. It is roughly estimated that there are at least hundreds of thousands of big rats in this underground world. This is the Ratman Kingdom. Desert rat people, also known as cave rat people. Like the lizard men, they also belong to the orc lineage. There are also rat men in the orc prairie, but their appearance is completely different from that of the desert rat men. They have human bodies and rat heads. They belong to the real orc tribe and are highly intelligent creatures. The desert rat people look almost the same as rats. The difference is, they have higher intelligence. Not only can he talk to others, but he has also established his own social civilization system. The lizard man, escorted by several rat men, quickly arrived near a huge cave. After some briefing, the lizard men were allowed to enter the cave. This cave has a diameter of more than 30 meters and a depth of nearly 100 meters. The space is very huge. There were lit torches all around the cave walls. It is also inlaid with a large number of crystals that can emit light. The lights that illuminate the cave are bright. After entering the cave, the lizard man quickly knelt on the ground. On both sides of it stood a group of fully armed rat warriors, all of whom were the elites of the rat kingdom. In the deepest part of the cave, there is a large bluestone seat several meters in diameter. Sitting on the seat was a very large rat man. It looks like it must be 3 meters high. It can be called an epic rat. Its body is bloated and fat, and you can tell at a glance that it has lived a very happy life. On the rat man's head was a crown that seemed to be made of gold, inlaid with dozens of large and small gems of various colors, which was very exquisite. It was covered with a golden monster fur. There is also a scepter in his hand. This demeanor also demonstrates its status and identity in the Ratman Kingdom. It is none other than the ruler of the Rat Kingdom, His Majesty the Rat King. The lizard man said with great respect, "Dear Your Majesty Aubrey, it is my honor to meet you." Rat King Aubrey squinted his slender rat eyes, looked down at the lizard men kneeling in the palace, and said in a high-pitched voice, "I heard that your tribe was invaded. The powerful leader also died on the battlefield." "Yes, Your Majesty Aubrey." The lizard man recounted the battle that took place on the central riverbed in detail, not daring to omit anything. Finally, he said, "Those are a group of very evil intruders. They slaughtered everyone in my tribe. Those guys are all wearing silver white knight armor, and they are all equipped with magic equipment. I believe that even in the distant human kingdom, they are elite aces. Their mounts are also incredibly powerful. I have never seen such fantastic creatures. They have the head and wings of an eagle, but their body is as majestic as a lion. It looks like the body integration of an eagle and a lion. They flapped their wings and descended from the sky with hurricane force winds. They caught my people in the sky one by one, and then tore them into pieces. In an instant, blood and death enveloped the entire central riverbed. Even the bloodthirsty monsters were frightened and fled into the distance. I implore Your respected Majesty Aubrey to send the kingdom's army to encircle and suppress this group of brutal hunters and avenge my tribe and my people." After listening to the lizard man's story, the bloated body of Rat King Aubrey also trembled. Guys with wings are not easy to deal with. After all, they are rat people, and they are most afraid of this kind of creature. After a moment of silence, it asked, "Do you know the origins of those intruders?" The lizard man shook his head and said, "I have never seen them in this area before. They should have appeared recently. I secretly observed the direction in which they left, in the northeast." Northeast, Golden Oasis. Rat King Aubrey opened his mind. The lizard man immediately complimented, "You are an extremely wise and powerful ruler. That group of hunters must be stationed near the Golden Oasis, and it is even possible that the Golden Oasis has been occupied by them. Judging from their cruel and tyrannical methods, they will definitely not take the peace contract seriously." "I know it." Rat King Aubrey nodded and said, "You go down and rest first. After I discuss with the ministers, I will decide whether to send a large army to encircle and suppress the group of invaders." "Still want to discuss?" The lizard men eagerly hope that the Skaven kingdom can send troops immediately. Wipe out all the invaders who destroyed its tribe. Just when it was about to continue saying something, several elite rat warriors suddenly appeared in front of it, staring at it with unkind expressions. It immediately did not dare to say anything and quickly exited the hall. After the lizard people left, Rat King Aubrey gently tapped the armrest of the throne with the scepter in his hand. After a moment, a figure in black robes came out of the shadows on one side of the cave. Judging from his figure, he seems to be a human being. Rat King Aubrey asked, "What does the messenger think of the sudden appearance of the group of invaders?" The figure in black robe said, "There is too little information, and we still don't know their purpose for the time being. They may just be passing by, or they may be here for Lord Charles." Rat King Aubrey said angrily, "If they are plotting against Master Charles, then even if I mobilize the power of the entire kingdom, I will kill them all. Your Majesty, it is better to be more cautious." The black-robed figure said, "According to the description given by the lizard, I can confirm that the riders of the group of human knights are the rumored griffins, and they are golden griffins." Golden griffin. Rat King Aubrey's fat face twitched. It has never seen the golden griffin with its own eyes, but it has heard legends about the golden griffin. That is a terrifyingly powerful fantasy creature. Dominate the sky over the battlefield. Their claws are sharp enough to tear boulders apart, and their sharp beaks can easily pierce the scales of monsters. They soar high in the sky. The sharp eagle eyes can locate all prey within a radius of tens of kilometers. However, any prey targeted by them cannot escape. Good, the black-robed figure said. Such a powerful monster is rare even in the human kingdom. Now, hundreds of golden griffin knights appear all at once, and the forces behind them must be very terrifying. If you provoke them rashly, it will most likely bring disaster to your kingdom. Lord Messenger, what should we do? Rat King Aubrey asked quickly. As soon as it heard the name of the golden griffin, it instinctively felt fear. The laws of nature make rat people like them become food for the Lord of the Sky, and it does not want to give extra meals to those golden griffins that appear out of nowhere. Just ignore it. The black-robed figure was very normal and said calmly, although the golden griffins dominate the sky, you are mice, hiding deep in the underground world. As long as you don't go out, those golden griffins can't do anything to you. Rat King Aubrey suddenly felt that it made sense. No matter how powerful the golden griffins are in combat, they can't dig into holes in the ground to hunt them, right? Digging holes into the ground is not the golden griffin's specialty. At this time, Rat King Aubrey showed a trace of dissatisfaction on his face and said, Sir Messenger, please don't use the humble title of rat to call me, the Rat Clan. We are rat people, a race of half-orcs who have entered the civilized era, not rats. Whatever you say is what it is. The black-robed figure shrugged. In his eyes, desert ratmen and rats are the same species. Only the rat people, who are of the orc lineage, can be considered a civilized and intelligent race. Ignore those intruders, the black-robed figure said. Maybe they will evacuate soon. Sir Messenger, what if they stay and occupy the sand forest? Rat King Aubrey was very worried about this problem. The sand forest area is also the hunting ground of the Skaven kingdom. Once occupied by outsiders, they are equivalent to losing a food supply chain. Food is already scarce in the desert. Without the sand forest, its Ratman kingdom will have no idea how many little mice will starve to death. Then you have no choice but to fight. The figure in black robe said, gather all your kingdom warriors, rush into the golden oasis, and destroy the invaders' station. Even if you cannot destroy them, you must do your best to drive them out of this area. No matter what you do, as long as it doesn't affect Lord Charles's healing. Also, there must be an adequate supply of food. Otherwise Sir Charles will have no choice but to use you as food. I understand. Rat King Aubrey looked horrified. Don't worry, Lord Messenger, even if we in the Rat Kingdom try our best, we must help Master Charles recover from his injuries as soon as possible. The black-robed figure nodded slightly. Then he retreated into the shadows again. Rat King Aubrey summoned the ministers of the kingdom and conveyed an order. A terrifying hunter has invaded the sand forest area. No more teams are allowed to be sent into the forest for hunting in the near future. Additional scouts are sent to investigate the rat people to find out specific information about the intruders. As you command, Your Majesty the Great King. None of the ministers objected to Rat King Aubrey's orders. They also received the news that the Lizardman tribe had been captured. Soon, a large number of scout ratmen poured out of the underground kingdom and dispersed to various areas of the sand forest along the underground caves extending in all directions. The rat people are also professional when it comes to gathering information. They rely on underground passages to come and go and are very hidden. It is extremely difficult to find them or catch them. Soon after, a large amount of information was reported. There are two main points. One is that the invaders are frantically hunting the monsters in the sand forest area. Second, the number of invaders is not hundreds at all, but nearly 1,000. Nearly 1,000 golden griffin knights. Mouse King Aubrey suddenly lost his composure and did not dare to act rashly. If it sends the kingdom's rat army to encircle and suppress this golden griffin cavalry regiment, the only result may be to fill the bellies of those golden griffins. Keep that lizard man in jail for me and don't let him promote his so-called revenge plan outside. For the sake of past friendship, give him some food. As you command, Your Majesty the King. It's another starry night. The royal griffin knights who went out for hunting returned to the golden oasis one after another. In one afternoon, they hunted thousands of magical beasts in the sand forest area, as well as a larger number of ordinary animals, adding a large amount of meat reserves to the territory. In addition, there are countless dissected warcraft materials. All these things were reserved by Lin Yi. It depends on whether the raw materials will be sold directly or turned into equipment and then sold later. Crafting it into equipment is definitely more profitable, but requires a blacksmith and a blacksmith shop. Master. The old butler Hu Odin handed a pile of gold coins and several gold coin bags into Lin Yi's hands and said, "This is our hunting harvest this afternoon. There are more than 3,500 gold coins in total, as well as 7 small gold coin bags and 1 medium gold coin bag. A total of more than 1,700 gold coins were found in these gold coin bags. A total of approximately 5,300 gold coins were harvested. Although this kind of harvest is not as good as the capture of the Lizardman tribe, it is already a big harvest compared to the past. This is also directly related to the expansion of the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment. Well done. If we hunt again tomorrow, our territory can be upgraded again, Lin Yi said with a smile on his face. The old butler Huodin nodded and said that he would continue to work hard tomorrow. At this time, Lin Yi said again, there is still some time before 12 o'clock in the evening. Let the Royal Griffin Knights go out and work hard. I feel that my level is about to break through. The old butler Huodin said in shock, promoted to the intermediate king level. Good. Lin Yi nodded slightly. If his level can break through to the intermediate king level before 12 o'clock, then after receiving the reward of Special Mission 1 he can go one step further and step into the high king level. Free prostitution is a higher level, don't do it for free. The old butler Huodin did not hesitate and immediately conveyed Lin Yi's order. Soon, nearly 1,000 Royal Griffin Knights in the territory set off again. The number of monsters that appear in the desert at night is less than during the day, but there are still some monsters that are active at night, such as the desert grey wolves. As long as he can hunt a pack of grey wolves, he can successfully break through the level. Another hour passed. One after another, Royal Griffin Knights returned to their territory. There are a dozen in total, and they are the knights sent out today to find the Sand People stronghold. Most came away empty-handed. But there was also a Royal Griffin Knight who brought good news to Lin Yi. A total of 4 Sand People strongholds were found by the Royal Griffin Knights. The smallest Sand People stronghold only had a few hundred people, and the largest one had more than 4,000 Sand People. This is a medium-sized Sand People tribe. It is about 150 kilometers away from the Golden Oasis. The strength is pretty good. Not only were they well organized, but they also built fortresses, towers, and walls. The old housekeeper Huodin said, the distance of 150 kilometers seems a bit far. With the strength of our territory, it is easy to capture this medium-sized Sand People tribe, but bringing those Sand People to the Golden Oasis is a problem. After all, Sand People can't fly, unless the Golden Griffin Legion is specifically sent to transport it. Lin Yi looked relaxed and said with a smile, with the size of the Golden Griffin, it is easy to transport 5 or 6 Sand People at a time. With 2 or 3 trips back and forth, not to mention the Sand People, all the supplies there can be transported to the Golden Oasis. Quote. The old butler Huodin asked, Master, do you mean to launch an attack on this Sand People tribe tomorrow? I must go, Lin Yi said. However, remember to be polite before fighting. Don't use war as the main method of conquest. It would be best if the Sand People are willing to surrender obediently. There is no experience reward for killing ordinary people. Killing is in vain. When a Sandman dies, he loses a labor force. All in all, it's a loss. The old butler Huodin said, Master, I understand. I will take the Royal Griffin Cavalry Regiment to the Sand People tribe early tomorrow morning. After finishing it, I will go to solve several other Sand People strongholds. Lin Yi nodded. He hopes that the number of subjects under his command will exceed 10,000 as soon as possible. That way, he can build a professional skill tower. At that time, whether it is Sally, himself, or the territory's troops or professionals, they can enter the professional tower to learn relevant professional skills. When the territory truly grows in the future and the number of territory residents increases dramatically, the role of professional skill tower can be highlighted even more. Chapter 41. Good news. Thanks to the efforts of the Royal Griffin Knights, Lin Yi's level was successfully promoted to the intermediate king level. As soon as 12 o'clock passed, he recruited 100 Royal Griffin Knights from the Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground. At this point, the number of Royal Griffin Knights exceeded 1,000. It can be regarded as a transformation from a corps to a legion. Lin Yi also completed Special Task 1. Obtain rewards from Lord System. The current level increases by 1 level. After receiving the mission reward, Lin Yi's level broke through again. Promoted to king level in 1 leap. Such a terrifying promotion speed made the old butler Huodin dumbfounded. Normally, the higher the level of a professional, the more difficult it is to be promoted. This is true even for Lin Yi's troops. Breakthrough requires more experience. As for my young master, He just broke through level 9 this morning and was promoted to a king-level professional. Before a day has passed, I have climbed all the way to the king level. This is terrifyingly fast, the old butler Huodin said with emotion. With just 2 more steps, the young master can become a transcendent professional. Looking at the entire holy continent, transcendent professionals can also be called strong. There is a saying in the world of professionals. Everyone under transcendent is mortal. This shows how amazing it is to be promoted to transcendent. Of course, this does not mean that you will become a god after being promoted to transcendent. Even the powerful transcendent is still far from being a true immortal god. The reason why such words are spread, it's because transcendent professionals have a special ability, which is flying. There is no need to rely on magic skills. Transcendent professionals can soar high in the sky with only the magic power in their own bodies. This is something that professionals under transcendent cannot do. Therefore, the transcendent strong man is also defined as above mortals. The so-called transcendent means transcending the ordinary world. Lin Yi said with a smile. The old housekeeper is not far away from being promoted to king level. Coupled with his own growth potential, it will be easy to set foot in transcendent in the future. Upon hearing this, the old housekeeper Huodin suddenly became happy. After a whole day of hunting, he also gained a lot. If nothing else happens, he will be promoted to king level tomorrow. As for the transcendent level, he couldn't even think about it before. But since the young master said this, he believed that he would be able to become a strong transcendent in the future. Once he sets foot on the transcendent, he will have at least 200 years added to his lifespan. Such a long time was enough for him to see his young master marry, have children, and flourish the tulip family. Master, it's getting late, you should go and rest early. Lin Yi nodded. Then he took the increasingly prettier little maid Sally into the backyard of the town hall. The next day, the Royal Griffin Knights set out early for the Sand People tribe more than 100 kilometers away. Thousands of huge golden griffins flew hundreds of meters high in the sky, not only covering the sky but also the sun, but they were still majestic and the scene was as shocking as it could be. In less than an hour's flight, the Royal Griffin Knights arrived at their destination. The old butler Huodin stood on the back of a golden griffin and looked down. I saw a fairly large camp located among the long stretches of yellow sand. There were a large number of wooden buildings and tents built in the camp, and it was surrounded by a wall made of stones. In addition, there are many defensive buildings such as arrow towers and small fortresses. The most important is, a few hundred meters away to the north of the camp, there was a sizable oasis. Although it is far inferior to the current golden oasis, it still has a fairly abundant water source, enough to supply the lives of thousands of sand people in the camp. There is a convention in the Carol Desert. Any force, any intelligent race, don't occupy the oasis. The resources of the oasis are shared by the creatures in the desert. Any force or race has the right to stop the occupation of oasis resources, including but not limited to declaring war on the force occupying the oasis. This is the peace pact. Lin Yi's behavior of directly building the territory in the Golden Oasis is basically equivalent to declaring war on the local transcendent level forces who formulated the peace contract. Compared to Lin Yi, the sand people in this area are very smart. They built the camp near the oasis. This did not occupy the oasis, but they also enjoyed almost all the resources of the oasis. This can be regarded as having policies from above and countermeasures from below. At this moment, the police were blaring inside the camp. Ant-like sand people were scurrying around the camp. Many sand people also gathered together at the call of the camp's higher-ups. The arrow towers and fortresses around the camp are all ready for war. Even before the Royal Griffin Knights approached the camp, some sand people on guard had already seen the Royal Griffin Knights. Now, the mighty Royal Griffin Knights were hovering directly over the camp, which immediately caused thousands of sand people in the camp to panic. Although they are well organized and armed, as well as defense facilities such as arrow towers and fortresses, but it only resisted the invasion of ordinary monsters and low-level evil races in the desert. This was the first time they faced enemies flying in the sky, and the number of enemies was so terrifying. The scariest thing is, the enemies are all armed to the teeth, and even the mounts beneath them are wrapped in magical equipment that exudes metallic luster. It is obvious at a glance that their strength is astonishing. Once the enemy is killed, thousands of sand people in the camp are likely to be slaughtered. And you can't escape even if you want to. After all, how can two legs on the ground outrun wings flying in the sky? Master Chief, what should we do now? Don't be nervous. Let's see what they want to do first. If they just want to rob supplies, then give them all the food we have stored. What if they want to destroy our camp? Then we can only fight hard. The camp leader made plans in a short time. Just at this time, several huge golden griffins swooped down from high altitude. Seeing this scene, the camp leader immediately shouted, "Everyone listen, no one is allowed to attack first without my order." After a while, several golden griffins landed successfully. However, they did not enter the camp, but landed on the camp wall. Their huge size and terrible falling force crushed a section of the wall. The camp's walls are only about 4 meters high. However, several golden griffins are nearly 8 meters high, which is twice as high as the wall. When they stand on the fence even looks too small. This strong visual contrast also made the sand people in the camp feel even more desperate. They are all king-level Warcraft knights. The camp leader gasped, feeling extremely frightened. He didn't know much about it and couldn't recognize what kind of beast that looked like an eagle and a lion, but that didn't matter. King level is enough for him to look up to. As the leader of the camp, he also has the highest rank. Reached level 8, ranked at the level of high-level professionals. But when the enemy he faced was a powerful king-level Warcraft knight, he was completely weak and vulnerable. He has reason to believe these few king-level Warcraft knights alone are enough to sweep through his entire camp. The armed forces of the camp, including the heavy crossbows in the fortress, may not even be able to break through the defenses of these king-level Warcraft knights. That thick magical armor was so dazzling that it made him despair. The entire camp was in chaos. There are many sand people running away. Some sand people were so frightened that they knelt on the ground. In fear, I prayed over and over again for blessing from the true God Brewster. At this moment, a figure holding a magic wand got off the back of a golden griffin, stood on the wall and looked at the camp leaders and others who were gradually gathering. The camp leader immediately said in a very respectful tone, "Dear magician, Lord Knights, I am Eric, the leader of this camp. I wonder what orders you have for your sudden visit." To Eric's surprise, the old magician was very kind. He said to him with a smile on his face, "My lord does not want to see you sand people living a difficult and precarious life, so I built a new home for you. The location is a golden oasis more than 100 kilometers away. That place has been transformed into a paradise by the power of God given by my lord. I am here to take you to settle there." Hear this. The expressions of leader Eric and the sand people professionals behind him suddenly changed. Not only was there no surprise in his expression, but he was filled with fear. They have enough reason to believe that the old magician and those powerful Warcraft knights are here to capture them and make them slaves. It's not like this has never happened. For many years, forces from the human kingdom have entered the Karar Desert to mine resources, such as digging for gobi pearls, mining salt lakes, etc. What to do when you don't have enough people? Generally, sand people are hired at low wages. The ruthless ones simply captured the sand people and used them as slave workers. Not only are they not paid, they don't even have enough to eat. Basically, none of the sand people who were captured as slaves survived. What paradise! That is a place where monsters are concentrated. The leader, Eric, said with a trembling voice, "Dear magician, we are living well here and do not need a new home. Thank you, Lord, for your kindness. I know what you're worried about, it's unnecessary." The old butler Huodin said, "My lord is a great God-giver, with a kind and benevolent heart. In order to create a peaceful living environment for you, we not only wiped out the large group of monsters nearby, but also wiped out the evil jackal and lizard tribes. Thousands of your countrymen have settled in the Golden Oasis. My lord gave them enough food to fill their stomachs, and also built them shelters that can isolate them from the heat and cold. Witness the glory of the goddess of magic. You can trust what I say." Hearing this, leader Eric also fell silent. It's true, is it true? After thinking about it carefully, he still couldn't believe that such a good thing would happen to sand people like them. Eric asked, "I wonder what the great lord needs us to do." The old butler Huodin said, all you need to do is to become the subjects of my lord and mine various resources for the development and construction of the Golden Oasis. Eric shook his head and said, no big shot from the outside world has ever been willing to accept us Sand People. They always regard us as criminals and call us the descendants of criminals. The old butler Huodin said with a smile, my lord is different from those people. He has a good impression of you Sand People. After a long silence again, leader Eric smiled bitterly and said, dear magician, do we have any other options? My lord, has stated that we will not use war and killing as the main means of conquest. As he spoke, the old butler Huodin waved to the royal griffin knights high in the sky. Suddenly, densely packed golden griffins descended from the sky. Each golden griffin was extremely huge, causing gusts of wind when it landed. They exude a terrifying aura that is enough to make the souls of the Sand People tremble. They stand scattered on the walls surrounding the camp. Like a giant beast, surround the entire camp. Those pairs of pale golden sharp eagle eyes locked onto every sand citizen in the camp. There is no need to say more about what follows. The leader, Eric, knew exactly what would happen if he refused. The old butler Huodin said, Chief Eric, you can trust me to witness with your own eyes the wonderful life of your compatriots in the Golden Oasis. In addition, hurry up, I still have a few camps to go to. Dear magician, please give me a few minutes. Okay. The old butler Huodin nodded. Inside a large tent. The leader, Eric, is having urgent discussions with the camp's senior leaders. However, the result of the negotiation gave Eric even more headaches. Because the opinions are not unanimous. Some people think this is a conspiracy. Going to the Golden Oasis is equivalent to falling into a devil's cave, and their people will be exploited and abused like slaves. Others believe that they have no choice but to lower their heads in the face of a powerful enemy. If we refuse to go to the Golden Oasis, they will definitely rush into the camp and take our people away. Rather than suffering casualties, it is better to try to believe. What if what the old magician said is true? The opinions of this group of people were recognized by the leader Eric. Since there is a disagreement, let's vote by a show of hands. The minority obeys the majority. After a while, the voting results came out. The leader, Eric, exhaled heavily, as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his body, and said, I will go and reply to the magician, while the others pack gifts and supplies. Let us go and witness together whether the Golden Oasis is a devil's cave or a paradise. War did not occur. This ending was also expected by the old butler Huodin. After all, a Sand People tribe with a population of only a few thousand and a handful of high-level professionals was not qualified to challenge the powerful Royal Griffin Knights from any aspect. With the combat power of the Royal Griffin Knights, just one attack was enough to completely destroy the tribal camp. As long as the camp leader is not stubborn, he will know what choice to make. There are not many supplies in the camp. It took a full 2 hours to pack. It is worth mentioning that the Sand People in the camp also raise a very large number of moose, at least more than 7,000, which is much richer than the previous Sand People strongholds that joined the Golden Oasis. This is also directly related to their possession of an oasis resource. There is abundant water in the oasis. There are lush coniferous grasses everywhere. Conifers are a favorite herbaceous plant for moose. These coniferous grasses were specially planted in the oasis by the Sand People in order to meet the food needs of the moose and thereby breed more moose. More than 7,000 moose, in groups of 5, bound with strips of cloth and thick hemp rope. The front claws of the golden griffin can be retracted, somewhat similar to eagle claws. Grab one in each hand. Easily take out 10 moose. Its broad back can also accommodate 3 or 5 Sand People, and it can even carry some packages if squeezed in. Soon, the Royal Griffin Knights set off again. Go straight back to the Golden Oasis. After just 2 round trips, the huge camp was emptied. Thousands of Sand People, including camp supplies, were all successfully transported to Lin Yi's territory. Looking at the beautiful Golden Oasis in front of them, the Sand People were all stunned. Everyone was shocked. This place is really beautiful and heavenly. As that sapphire lake. The area is so huge, and it's crystal clear. There are also schools of big fish swimming in the lake. My God, there are actually acres of orchards over there. After living for so many years, I have never seen such a lush forest. When I am in it, it is like walking into the rumored forest of life. The master magician did not deceive us. Our people live here, and they really live in exquisite houses, no longer simple tents. There are many tribesmen cutting trees. But there are no supervisors, and there are no signs of being enslaved. At this moment, all the sand people were extremely excited. They even suspected that they were hallucinating. For them, the scenes in front of them are as fantastic and beautiful as the pictures in their dreams. They are the life they dream of having. In that neat row of residential areas, they also saw many pregnant female sand people sewing clothes. There were young children running and playing outside the house. Everyone's faces were filled with happy smiles. Even if this place is really a devil's cave, they are still willing to get stuck in it. This side of the town hall. Lin Yi met with Eric. The camp leader who was in charge of thousands of sand people was kneeling in the hall with an anxious expression, not daring to raise his head to look at the mysterious lord sitting on the big chair. Get up. Lin Yi's voice was calm. My butler told me that your name is Eric and you are the leader of the camp. From now on, your task is to manage the sand people in your camp and avoid conflicts with other sand people. After joining my territory, you will become my subjects. I will protect you and give you a better life and future. Praise you, great lord. The leader, Eric, thanked him with excitement. Then he asked cautiously, Lord, I heard your butler say that our job is to extract resources for your territory. Is that really just that? If not, Lin Yi said with a smile, let you go explore territory and hunt monsters. The leader Eric suddenly said in embarrassment, in front of Lord's powerful army of Warcraft knights, the strength of my people is not worth mentioning. A word of dialogue, Eric quickly said, but if the Lord needs it, my people can also serve you on the battlefield. Such a beautiful paradise-like home is worth protecting with their lives. That's a good idea. Lin Yi nodded. At least in terms of attitude, he was very satisfied with this Eric. Unless an enemy breaks into the Golden Oasis, there is no need for you to join the battle. Your daily tasks are to cut down trees, mine stones, and go to the salt lake to dry salt. The sand people who are not qualified for these jobs stay in the territory to do small things, such as sewing clothes, cleaning, decomposing monster corpses, etc. My territory does not support idlers. If they are unwilling to do these tasks, there is only one outcome for such people, and that is deportation. Eric immediately promised, Lord, don't worry, we will work hard, and no one will be lazy. If you can protect us and make us your subjects, you will be our sand people's great benefactor. Even if you are young, children can also learn to be grateful. Very good. Lin Yi smiled broadly. Then go down and gather your clansmen, and I will ask a GU to arrange work for you. As you command, Lord. The leader, Eric, bowed respectfully. His excitement was hard to suppress. A beautiful paradise-like home, a benevolent and kind lord. He believed that the goddess of luck must be favoring them, otherwise how could they have such an adventure? Arriving outside the town hall, Eric saw the AGU in Lin Yi's mouth. It's actually a jackal. This made him instinctively alert. Gnolls are intelligent creatures of pure evil. Their camp had been attacked by the jackal corps many times and many moose were robbed. But he soon reacted. This is a golden oasis of paradise. Even if a jackal appears, it will be a jackal who has reformed his evil ways. Thinking of this, the leader Eric quickly saluted, Lord Aguma. Jackal Agum put his hands behind his back and nodded lightly. Although Eric, as a high-level professional, was powerful enough to slap him to death, he was not afraid at all. Instead, he was full of arrogance because he had the support of the god envoy. Take me to your settlement and I will assign you today's tasks. With that said, a GU looked at Eric again, who was covered in oil. As the leader of thousands of sand people, you must always remember that my master likes a clean environment. You should not make the resettlement area full of filth, and you must bathe frequently. Also, all female sandfolk must be fully clothed. No more topless breasts. If anyone doesn't comply, I'll question you. Eric quickly said, I understand, thank you Master Agu for the reminder. Jackal Aguma raised his head and snorted softly. He looked like a big shot. The migration went very smoothly. Under the shock of the royal Griffin Knights, the remaining 3 sand people strongholds were also obedient and none of them resisted. The population and supplies were all transported to the Golden Oasis. At first, the Sand People in the 3 strongholds were also frightened. I highly doubt that the old butler Huodin is deceiving them. The fundamental purpose is to capture them as slaves. But when they came to the Golden Oasis, their mentality immediately changed. Not only was he excited to join Golden Oasis, but he was also very eager to participate in the next work. Compared to their precarious life before, work like logging, quarrying, and drying salt is simply a leisure activity. They were willing to fight until death for that mysterious lord. Master. The backyard of the town hall. The old butler Huodin said to Lin Yi, the new Sand People have been settled and assigned work tasks. In addition, the Royal Griffin Knights also went to the Sand Forest area to continue hunting. I just did some statistics. As of now, there are 9,368 Sand People in our territory. The number of moose has also increased dramatically, exceeding 12,000. The old butler was very happy. Originally, he was a little worried that the sudden increase in the number of people in the territory would bring a big food crisis to the territory, but now it seems that he is just worrying blindly. The more than 10,000 moose alone are enough to feed the territory for a long time. In addition, a lot of food was transported back from several Sand People tribes. Especially chestnuts. It has piled up in the warehouse. Most of the Sand People don't like to eat corn because they eat it every day and almost vomit after eating it. But in order to survive, they could only choose to regard corn as their main food. In fact, the taste of corn is pretty good. After being roasted, it is almost like a nut and has a little sweetness. Especially suitable for snacks. If you transport the mountains of corn in the warehouse to the human kingdom, you may be able to earn a lot of money in exchange. Lin Yi took out a small bottle from the space bag he carried and gave it to the old butler Huodin, and said, this is a potion for rapid animal growth. Pour it into the livestock farm and we will get more adult moose and pregnant female moose. So amazing. The old housekeeper Huodin was stunned. He quickly took the medicine bottle. I thought to myself that no wonder a large number of desert coyotes and moose suddenly became pregnant some time ago, and they gave birth to cubs one after another that night. It turned out that the young master was responsible. Lin Yi said, it can shorten the growth time of animals by 1/3. It is enough to use it once, and it will have no effect if used multiple times. I remember, master. The old butler Huodin nodded. Lin Yi added, when these 2 heavenly sovereign Griffin Knights go out to hunt, they should also patrol the surrounding areas. If they encounter a new Sand People stronghold, bring them all over. When the number of territorial citizens exceeds 10,000, we can build a professional skill tower. Professional skill tower. The old butler Huodin was a little confused. A magical building related to professional skills. Good. Lin Yi nodded and said, you can learn related professional skills in it, whether it is combat skills or magic. The specific situation will be known after it is built. Hear this. The old butler Huodin also started to look forward to it. He is not far away from being promoted to king level. But he doesn't have any king level magic skills. If he can learn it in the professional skill tower, his strength will definitely be greatly improved. A building like this where you can learn professional skills can be said to be priceless. Generally speaking, when local professionals learn magic and combat skills, they basically rely on the words and deeds of their teachers, and they may not be able to learn them if they are not talented enough. There is no such thing as professional skill tower in the Holy Continent. Lin Yi continued, when the population of our territory exceeds 10,000, we will hold a harvest festival. By the way, we will catch the native lake fish in Sapphire Lake and provide extra meals to the territorial residents. The old butler Huodin said, those Sand People are really lucky to meet you, the young master. They have cultivated for 3 generations. Even he felt that his young master was really good to those Sand People. Lin Yi just smiled. For him, adding extra meals or something is just a matter of words. If you can make those Sand People work more enthusiastically and provide them with inexhaustible basic resources of the territory, then you can make money. Didn't stay long. The old butler Huodin left the territory happily. He needs to quickly upgrade his level to king level. In addition, the young master's instructions cannot be delayed and must be completed quickly. As for Lin Yi, Yu continued to finish what he had not yet finished, creating a comfortable lounge chair. Time passes quickly. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. After these 2 days of recruitment, as well as the unit number drawing revealed by killing monsters, the total size of the Royal Griffin Knights Legion under Lin Yi has increased to 1,800. Among them, there are more than 370 Royal Holy Griffin Knights. Let's talk about level. Most Griffin Knights have reached level 8 or even level 9. There are also Griffin Knights who have entered the King level. There were more than 120 people in total. Most of the King level or Royal Holy Order Griffin Knights, because they have a higher starting point and are at level 9 when they are recruited. They are only one step away from being promoted to King level. Lin Yi's level has also reached a new breakthrough. Currently at the peak of King level. Just one more step and he would be able to set foot on Transcendent. In the past 2 days, the development and construction of the territory has also been very rapid. Especially the level has been upgraded to middle-level town. After the upgrade, the area of the Golden Oasis has expanded several times again. Not only has it grown seemingly endless tall trees, it even has its own stone mine. Of course, this stone mine was not bred by the Lord system. It itself is a rocky mountain located several kilometers away. As the area of the Golden Oasis further expanded, the continuous stone mountains were finally wrapped up and turned into exclusive minerals for Lin Yi's territory. This is where the Sand People are resettled. Thousands of residential houses are arranged in order like fish scales. It is very large and looks like a city-state. Some of the residential residences were upgraded to middle level by Lin Yi, which can accommodate 10 residences units, while the others are low-level residences. Lin Yi does not consume excessive wood resources. As long as the existing sand residents can be resettled. Tonight, the aura of the Lucky Altar will be refreshed again. I wonder what the territory buff will be in the new week. His first lucky halo is 50% bonus to combat power of territorial units, which makes the Royal Griffin Knights invincible. Not only did they easily capture the Lizardman tribe, but they also swept across the entire sand forest area without any rivals. So far, he had not heard of any Griffin Knight being injured on the battlefield, let alone killed. Lin Yi hopes that this random lucky halo will be just as awesome. Anyway, after so many days, the people from the Crystal Chamber of Commerce should have returned to Forest City. I wonder what the situation is like over there. It's the same as Lin Yi estimated. The people from the Crystal Chamber of Commerce have indeed returned to Forest City. This is a large trading city located in the southern part of the Forest of Life. It gathers the forces of chambers of commerce from various kingdoms, and its economy can be said to be very prosperous. Looking down from a high altitude, you can clearly see the wide Great Dao in all directions of Forest City. Each Great Dao extends to the end of the forest. On the Great Dao, there are many caravans, travelers, bounty hunters, professionals, etc. from various kingdoms. It can be said that there is an endless stream. The most important is, there are not only humans among them, but also aliens can be seen. Such as dwarves, orcs, half-elves, etc. Even pure-blooded nature elves, murlocs from the seven seas, and giants in the extreme ice wasteland can see it. It can be said to be the gathering of myriad races, extremely lively. Scenes like this are rare to see elsewhere. There is a saying that is very applicable in this world, that is, people who are not my race must have different minds. Many races are wary of foreign races. If the situation is slightly wrong, life and death may happen. The reason why Forest City can keep these races openly peaceful is purely because this is the territory of the Nature Elves. Nature Spirit, a higher intelligent race in the Holy Continent. It rules the entire Forest of Life with its powerful racial strength. Even if the giant dragon comes here, it will not dare to easily provoke the bottom line of the natural elves. Therefore, Forest City is also made special. Return to the Chamber of Commerce location. Sophia was finally able to take a comfortable bath. Have a long-awaited meal. However, she didn't indulge in it. She wanted to complete the transaction as soon as possible and then return to the Golden Oasis with a large amount of gold coins. The mysterious and handsome lord is still waiting for her return. After dealing with personal and Chamber of Commerce matters, Sophia immediately put on her costume and took the old mage Simon to the Bohemia auction house in Forest City. 1,000 bottles of fairy spring water were sold at one time. With such a large amount of money, both the staff responsible for the reception and the appraisers who came to appraise the items were shocked. It even alarmed the person in charge of Bohemia Auction House. Beautiful Miss Sophia. A middle-aged man with a big belly appeared in front of Sophia and said apologetically, "As an auction house, we have no right to investigate the origin of auction items, but please understand that this is the Forest City, the territory of the natural elves. Quote, anything related to elves we need to ask about in advance. Don't worry, there is no problem with the origin of these fairy spring waters." Sophia said with a calm expression, "You can just auction these fairy spring waters. If there is any problem, our Crystal Chamber of Commerce will take care of it and we can sign a magic contract." The middle-aged man suddenly smiled. "Since Miss Sophia said this, I'm relieved. There happens to be an auction tonight. We will auction your batch of fairy spring water as the final item." Sophia nodded slightly and asked, "How much is the handling fee?" The middle-aged man said, 7 percentage points, all auction houses are the same." Sophia chuckled and said, "But those auction houses did not auction 1,000 bottles of fairy spring water at one time. This is a great opportunity to build the brand of your auction house, isn't it?" The middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said, 5 percentage points, the lowest." Sophia pretended to leave and said, "I believe the Cillian Jade auction house next door can give me a more favorable offer." The middle-aged man's fat face suddenly twitched. This Miss Sophia is obviously an insider, knowing that Cillian Jade auction house is their mortal enemy. After a moment of silence, he said, "Please wait a moment, I'll be back soon." "Okay." Sophia smiled and nodded. There was light makeup on her delicate cheeks. Wearing a dress that exposed half of her breasts, she was incredibly beautiful. But the middle-aged man had no time to appreciate it, so he stood up and left the box. After a while, the middle-aged man finally turned back and said, "If Miss Sophia can cooperate with our auction house for a long time, all the auction fees can be wiped out. The so-called long-term cooperation. In fact, it is just a step to waive the handling fee. Regardless of whether we can cooperate in the future, their auction house will get this batch of elf spring water." Just like Sophia said, this can increase the reputation value of their auction house in Forest City, thereby attracting more customers to participate in the bidding here. "We'll talk about the rest later," Sophia said. "However, I still have a batch of fairy spring water in hand, and I need some generous customers." Hear this. The middle-aged man suddenly narrowed his eyes. What a surprise. At the same time, he was also very surprised that 1,000 bottles of elf spring water was not the bottom line of the Crystal Merchant Guild. What is the origin of this Chamber of Commerce? It seems I have never heard of it before. The middle-aged man quickly asked. "I wonder how many bottles of elf spring water are left in Miss Sophia's hand." However, Sophia just shook her head. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man immediately understood and said immediately, "After the auction ends in the evening, I will introduce you to some big customers." Sophia smiled and said, "Thank you, President. The next step is to sign the deed and auction agreement." It was smooth and fast. After the middle-aged man left the box, the old mage Simon asked, "Miss, don't you plan to visit other auction houses?" Sophia shook her head and said, "Even if we look at a few more, the result will be the same at most. We must make a quick decision and bring the gold coins back to the Lord." The old mage Simon said nothing more. At night, the Bohemia auction house is brightly lit. Under the lively scene of people sitting in the hall, the auction went on as scheduled. On the high platform, as the beautiful and auctioneer shouted hard, one item after another, such as transcendent equipment, rare magic element gems, magic notes, magic potions, etc. were auctioned one after another. It's time for the finale auction. The entire auction hall was silent. On the high platform, 200 bottles of elf spring water emitting bright light were placed neatly. Everyone knows, the water of life is a unique treasure of the natural elves. It is said to be prepared from the sap of the elf mother tree. Even dead creatures can be revived as long as their souls are not broken. And the fairy spring water is the diluted product of the water of life. It has miraculous effects on the cultivation of professionals, the treatment of injuries, etc. This auction is for 200 bottles of low-level elf spring water. The starting price is 150,000 gold coins, and each increase in price is no less than 1,000 gold coins. VIPs in the audience can start bidding. 1,000 bottles of fairy spring water, 200 bottles in groups, were auctioned for a total of 5 rounds. The highest price was an astonishing 302,000 gold coins. The lowest group also took nearly 270,000 gold coins. The average price per bottle is much higher than the market price. This is what auction houses are for. A group of people scrambled for it, and the price was raised as a result. Of course, this is also related to the amount of elf spring water photographed. It is not easy to buy so much elf spring water at one time in the market, unless you are making a deal with the natural elves. Miss Sophia. After the auction, the middle-aged man personally delivered a crystal card to Sophia's box and said with a smile, "All the 1,475,000 gold coins obtained from this auction are stored in this crystal card. You put it away." "Okay, thanks." Sophia took Jinka over. This is the universal crystal card of the Holy Continent. It is created by transcendent-level forces such as Magic Guild, Bounty Hunter Guild, and Trading Guild throughout the world, and can be used in any area where these forces are stationed. In addition, you can also go to these guilds with your crystal card to withdraw cash. At this time, the middle-aged man said again, "Miss Sophia, 2 guests have arrived and are waiting for you in box 9. Lead the way." Sophia nodded slightly. Soon, the group arrived at box 9. Sitting in the box was an old man and a hot woman. The old man was wearing a black robe, tall and with a rosy face. Although he has a head full of silver hair, he gives people a feeling of being very energetic. The woman is wearing a purple dress. Her breasts are half exposed and she looks pretty. Especially a pair of straight long white legs are very eye-catching. At this time, Sophia's eyes suddenly solidified. Because she discovered that there was actually a snow-white furry tail on the woman's round buttocks. Looking at the woman's ears, they also have a circle of thin white fuzz. This shows that women come from the beast tribe. And he is a fox man known for his intelligence and cunning. "Little girl, have a good time." The old man in black robes suddenly spoke with an impatient look on his face. "No matter how many bottles of elf spring water you have in your hand, I want them all. Just give me a price." The fox girl on the side chuckled. "Master Dominic, you humans have a saying, you can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. No matter how anxious you are, business should be discussed slowly, right?" As she said that, she turned her eyes to Sophia again and said with a charming expression, "This little sister from the human race, my name is Gloria. You have also seen that I am a fox man, but please don't compare me with those treacherous fox men. Connected together. As a serious businessman, I have always been based on integrity." "Integrity? Stop talking nonsense. The cunning vixen never has integrity. Just like goblins will never give up robbing. This is nature." Sophia didn't take Gloria's words to heart. After sitting down, she said, "I still have about 4,000 bottles of fairy spring water in my hand. I will sell it to the one who offers a price that satisfies me." She didn't want to inquire about the origins of these 2 people. After all, they are all big people she needs to look up to. She just sells the fairy spring water. The higher the selling price, the higher her commission. 4,000 bottles. The old man named Dominic sat up straight. The expression on fox girl Gloria's charming face also turned serious. As for the middle-aged man who came with him, his fat face couldn't stop twitching. He didn't expect that Sophia actually had 4,000 bottles of elf spring water in her hand. Oh my God, could it be that they robbed an elf tribe? The old man Dominic was the first to speak again and said, "No matter how much you have or how little, even if you have 4,000 bottles, the total price is 4.5 million gold coins, I want them all." Sophia shook her head. "Too low." The old man said, "Don't compare it with the auction price. The price I gave is already the market price." Sophia smiled and said, "It is difficult for you, the old man, to buy so much fairy spring water in the market." "That is," fox girl Gloria said with a bright smile, "Master Dominic is more cunning than us fox people. If it were me, I would offer at least 4.8 million gold coins." When the old man heard this, he was so angry that he blew his beard and stared. When I was about to say something, Sophia added, "If this is your offer, I think I can go." Her inner expectation was 5 million gold coins. No seeds will be sold if they are missing. The smile on Gloria's face also froze. But she soon returned to normal and said, 5 million gold coins, this is the highest price I can give. The old man snorted coldly and said, 5.1 million gold coins. Hearing this, Gloria directly quoted, 5,150,000 gold coins, without even thinking about it. The old man said dissatisfied, Gloria, are you serious? Gloria raised her seductive eyebrows and said with a smile, Master Dominic, you know, I especially need this batch of fairy spring water now. Hear this. The old man also frowned. I don't know what he thought of, but after a moment, he stood up and left the box without saying hello. Apparently he gave up the fight this time. Seeing this, the fox girl Gloria also breathed a sigh of relief, turned her gaze to Sophia again, and said with a smile, Miss Sophia, are you satisfied with my price? Sophia was certainly satisfied. The offer exceeded her expectations. But she still said, let's round up the whole number, 5.2 million gold coins. If there is a chance in the future, we can cooperate for a long time. Fox girl Gloria smiled reluctantly. Even she admired her ability to raise prices on the spot. How shameless. Make a deal. Gloria stopped bargaining. Then in front of the middle-aged man, the two completed the transaction. Sophia has an extra 5.2 million in her card. The fox girl Gloria also got what she wanted, elf spring water. This made the smile on her face become extremely bright. I wonder what Miss Sophia meant by long-term cooperation just now. Sophia said, you will know in the future, provided you prepare enough gold coins. She has reason to believe that the Lord has more elven spring water in his hands, and this is by no means the last transaction. Then I look forward to our happy cooperation in the future. Fox girl Gloria stood up with a smile and shook hands with Sophia. When she retracted her hand, Sophia already had a business card in her hand. Unexpectedly smooth. At the headquarters of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce, Sophia smiled and said to the old mage Simon, when we find a channel to sell those red dragon fruits, and purchase a batch of food, we can go directly to the golden oasis. Old mage Simon said, Miss, we must be more careful during this period. If we trade something worth millions of gold coins at once, we will inevitably be targeted. Hearing this, Sophia also nodded. You can never go too far wrong. If someone robbed you, it would be nothing more than death. If she was not dead, how could she explain to the Lord who trusted her? A golden oasis with bright bonfires. Thousands of clusters of firelight illuminated the entire oasis like daylight. The sand people are gathering together to light a fire and cook. It's mainly meat, with a little bit of steamed corn. Purely natural, no seasonings added. The food is just a pristine one. Although the food is simple, it is enough to make the sand people happy. In the past, they didn't even have enough to eat. Eating a meal of meat is considered a big festival. Unlike now, we have meat every meal and we are full. Therefore, the sand people are extremely grateful to their Lord. Whenever the meal was served, they would gather together to pray for the Lord who gave them food. Besides working hard, this is the only thing they can do for their Lord. This side of the town hall. Lin Yi sat on a large luxuriously decorated chair. Following his gaze, there was a tied-up black mouse curled up on the floor of the hall. The size of this mouse exceeded Lin Yi's knowledge of mice. Really fat and big. The body size exceeds 1 meter, and this does not include the tail. He could not imagine that in the sand forest area where the royal Griffin knights hunted, there were hundreds of thousands of these big black mice hidden in the underground world nearby. The picture of hundreds of thousands of big black mice gathering together. Just thinking about it made his hair stand on end. If not handled properly, it may lead to a rat plague. The good news is that the Rat Kingdom also seems to be afraid of the royal Griffin knights under his command. Even though he knew that he had wiped out the Lizardman tribe and even occupied the Saran, he only dared to send scouts to inquire about his legion's intelligence instead of directly declaring war on his golden oasis. The powerful human lord, the black-skinned mouse said with a trembling voice, I have told you all the information I know, and I hope you can keep your promise and let me live. Lin Yi said calmly, don't worry, I have always had a doubt in my heart. Who is the Charles that the lizard man leader said? It actually believed it to be its master. Check, Charles. The black-skinned mouse trembled all over and said tremblingly, Charles is the king of our rat kingdom. Dishonest. Lin Yi glanced at it sideways. If I remember correctly, you previously claimed that your rat king is His Majesty Aubrey. Black-skinned mouse. It was about to quibble when a sharp knight's sword was pressed against its forehead. The owner of this long sword is a burly royal holy knight with a level as high as king level late stage. The black-skinned mouse was so frightened that he almost fainted. He said in great horror, "Dear human lord, it's not that I deliberately concealed it, but that I didn't dare to say it. If I did, His Majesty Aubrey would definitely kill me." The black-skinned mouse's words made Lin Yi even more convinced that Charles had an unusual origin. He stared at the rat man with a fake murderous expression. "If you don't tell me, you will die now." Quote. The black-skinned mouse was in despair. After a brutal ideological struggle, it chose to surrender. Whether His Majesty Aubrey will kill it is a matter for the future. The most important thing is to get through the immediate crisis first. After thinking clearly, the black-skinned mouse immediately said, "Dear human lord, Charles is the real master behind the scenes of our rat kingdom, and he is the master we worship." Continue. Lin Yi's expression was calm. The black-skinned mouse gritted his teeth again and said, "Charles is a giant dragon, a terrifying dragon powerful enough to destroy the entire rat kingdom. 2 years ago, it flapped its dragon wings that could set off hurricanes and descended from the sky. The terrifying dragon power swept across it, covered the entire sand forest area, and all living creatures trembled because of its appearance. The lizardmen tribe was the first to surrender to its dragon power. Not long after, His Majesty Aubrey welcomed Master Charles into the kingdom, contributed a lot of food to him and prayed for Master Charles's protection. Until now, Master Charles has been staying in the forbidden areas of our kingdom. Listen to what this big black rat has to say." Lin Yi was also surprised. Unexpectedly, there is a giant dragon living next door to him. This is really, I don't know whether I should call it good luck or bad luck. Why did Charles the dragon stay in your kingdom for so long? Lin Yi has reason to believe that the dragon is not just for free food and drink. After all, this is the Karar Desert. How much food can there be? With his noble status as a giant dragon, he can go to the forest of life next to him and occupy a hilltop to have a mouthful of oily food, and the taste can be changed at any time. What's the good thing about staying in this barren Karar Desert? The black-skinned mouse said, "As far as I know, Master Charles was injured. When it crashed in the sand forest, the dragon's blood stained the ground red. Later, that area was fought over by many monsters." Lin Yi suddenly understood. If it was healing, that would make sense. "Do you know what level of dragon Charles is?" "Have no idea." The black-skinned mouse shook his head and said, "I am too weak to sense the rank aura of Master Charles. But I am certain that it is a dark dragon because it is covered with jet black dragon scales." Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. It's also difficult to do this if you only know the attributes of the dragon species but don't know the specific level. After thinking for a while, he asked again, "Isn't your rat kingdom in the underground world? How did it get in?" The black-skinned mouse explained. "In order to welcome Master Charles, King Aubrey ordered to dig through a mountain and forcibly built a huge passage leading directly to our kingdom. This passage is still there, but the entrance has been temporarily blocked." Hearing this, Lin Yi's eyes lit up. With the help of this passage, his royal Griffin knights may be able to march directly into the Ratman kingdom. But the premise, he had to figure out what level the dragon named Charles was. If it's just king level, then you can just kill it. By the way, arrange a dragon tomb for it. If it's transcendent, it just needs a steady hand temporarily. And once it is a saint rank level dragon, then he has to think about how to defend the base camp. Lin Yi said to a royal holy knight in the hall, "Take it to the sand forest area and determine the entrance location of the underground passage. If it is not honest, just chop it down." "As you command, great lord." The royal holy knight respectfully obeyed the order. Then he carried the black-skinned mouse out of the town hall. In the hall, the old butler Huodin said solemnly, "Master, are we moving?" He couldn't bear to leave the golden oasis. This is not only paradise in the eyes of the sand people, but also his new home. But the problem is, a giant dragon is sleeping next to it. His scalp felt numb. That's not the case. Lin Yi shook his head. It was just a giant dragon, not enough to frighten him enough to move away from the base camp. Besides, It's still an injured dragon. Although 2 years have passed, it is difficult to say whether Charles the dragon has recovered from his injuries. If it was a life-threatening injury, it would be difficult to recover quickly even with the dragon's resilience. If that's the case, it would be very beneficial to him. Of course, this is thinking in a good direction. As the Lord of the Golden Oasis, Lin Yi has nearly 10,000 people under his command. In order to ensure the security of the territory, he must also prepare for the worst. That is, 2 years have passed, and the dragon Charles has recovered from his injuries, and he is still a Saint rank level dragon. This is enough to threaten the security of his territory. Lin Yi said calmly, "Don't panic. The dragon Charles hasn't left the Ratman kingdom for 2 years. He must be worried. He shouldn't appear in front of us in a short time. What we have to do is to quickly develop the territory's strength." After thinking for a moment, he said to the old butler Huodin, "On the one hand, the Royal Griffin Knights should try their best to avoid the Ratman Kingdom when hunting in the Sand Forest area, leaving them a piece of territory. This can reduce the Skaven Kingdom's vigilance and hostility towards us. In the near future, we must achieve peaceful coexistence with the Rat Kingdom to prevent those big black rats from directly releasing the Dragon Charles to deal with us. On the other hand, form an ace team of 100 people. This team is composed entirely of Royal Holy Griffin Knights. When hunting monsters, let these Royal Holy Griffin Knights kill them and give them all the experience, so as to raise their levels as quickly as possible. When they are promoted to Transcendent, we won't be afraid anymore. 100 other Royal Holy Knights of Transcendent level. 100 Transcendent level Golden Griffins. With such a combination, I think it would be a match even against a dragon at the Saint rank level." "Young master is wise," the old butler Huodin said. "In this way, our crisis will be greatly reduced." Lin Yi said again, "Old housekeeper, I plan to let you go to the Forest City." Forest City. The old housekeeper Huodin suddenly wondered, "Master, do you want me to join Miss Sophia and bring back the gold coins obtained from her transaction to further enhance the strength of the territory?" "This is just one of them," Lin Yi said. "After you go to Forest City, you need to find out if any force is selling the dragon's body. If there is, I will buy it back no matter how much it costs." Without waiting for the old butler Huodin to ask more questions, Lin Yi continued, "I have a blueprint in my hand that can be used to build a dragon's tomb. As long as the dragon's body is buried in it, I can recruit the undead dragon race troops." Hear this. The old housekeeper Huodin suddenly took a breath of air. The undead dragon race unit. Isn't that the bone dragon or the nether dragon? This is an extremely terrifying undead creature rumored to be, and its combat power is no less than that of a living dragon. He didn't expect that his young master could even summon such a powerful apex-level creature. This was truly blessed by the goddess of magic. The old butler Huodin said immediately, "Master, I will leave for the Forest City later." Lin Yi nodded and said, "I will send a team of Royal Griffin Knights to accompany you. At the flying speed of the Golden Griffin, it will take one night to reach the Forest City." Originally, he planned to develop quietly, but now it seems that this is no longer possible. If he doesn't get rid of the dragon as soon as possible, he won't be able to sleep well. He was afraid that a breath of dragon's breath would be sprayed on his face while he was sleeping. After saying that, Lin Yi took the old housekeeper Huodin out of the town hall and came to the nearby elf spring. Under the watchful eye of old butler Huodin, a bright golden light emerged from the void and enveloped the elf spring. Visible to the naked eye, the diameter of the fairy spring is expanding. In an instant, it expanded to about 5 meters. The breath of life and nature emanating from it has become more intense and pure. "Master, this is increase the building level of the fairy spring," Lin Yi said. "After the upgrade, the elf spring water produced by this elf spring will be medium quality elf spring water, equivalent to the kind you drank back then." The old butler Huodin said excitedly, "A bottle is worth thousands of gold coins." "Roughly the same," Lin Yi said with a smile, "but how many gold coins a bottle can be sold for depends on the market price in Forest City. But there is one more thing you need to remember." The old housekeeper said, "Master, please tell me." Lin Yi said, "Our territory is still too weak compared to those kingdom-level transcendent-level forces. You should try to keep a low profile when you are in Forest City. The new batch of middle-level fairy spring water should also be sold with caution. to avoid being targeted by some transcendent level forces. Of course, if you can exchange it for the dragon's body, you can take some risks. I understand, Master. The old butler Huodin nodded. Seeing this, Lin Yi said nothing more. The old housekeeper has far more experience than him, and he knows exactly what to do. Then the two found a large wooden barrel and began to fill the elf spring water in the ancient well. Only about 1/5 of it was filled, but there were at least 3,000 bottles. It is estimated to be worth tens of millions of gold coins. It's not that Lin Yi doesn't want the old butler Huodin to take away more elf spring water, it's purely because this thing is too sensitive, and the forest city is still the territory of the natural elves. If you sell too much, you will definitely be targeted by the group of nature elves. Moreover, the Crystal Merchant Guild had already taken away thousands of bottles of fairy spring water. What Lin Yi doesn't know is, Sophia's operation sold out all the fairy spring water in one go. If nothing else goes wrong, the name of the Crystal Merchant Guild will soon spread in Forest City. Not to mention becoming famous, but it is definitely no longer unknown. The reason why Sophia is so courageous, it's because she always believed that behind Lin Yi, there stood a powerful man with terrifying strength. And at least saint rank. Who would offend a saint rank powerhouse just because of a few thousand bottles of low-level fairy spring water? At most, it's just an idea to attack her Crystal Merchant Guild, but I definitely wouldn't dare to provoke Golden Oasis. If Lin Yi knew about it, he couldn't help but say thank you. Under the cover of night, the old butler Huodin sat on the back of a golden griffin. With 10 king-level royal holy griffin knights, they flew straight to the distant forest city. With flying units like the golden griffin, it is very convenient to travel long distances. When the Crystal Chamber of Commerce came before, there were no golden griffins in Lin Yi's territory. If it had been available at that time, he would most likely have sent the golden griffin to send Sophia and others directly to the forest city, which would have saved more time. Maybe now, he already holds hundreds of thousands of Lord Gold coins. Upgraded the Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground to the highest apex level. Of course, there are no ifs in this world. Lin Yi can only hope that the team can return to the Golden Oasis as soon as possible. If he returns one day earlier, he will be able to recruit more Royal Griffin Knights one day earlier, and finally use the human sea tactic to pile up the giant dragon to death. Lin Yi checked the information after the upgrade of Elf Spring. Elf Fountain. Level. Middle level. Building information. Contains a steady stream of fairy spring water, and always exudes the magic of nature and life, improving the surrounding environment. Practicing near the fairy spring can get twice the result with half the effort. Closing square bracket. Next level. High-level fairy fountain. Upgrade requirements. 100,000 gold coins, 50,000 units of stone. Special reminder. When the fairy spring reaches full level, it can breed water of life. Closing square bracket. The cost of upgrading has increased tenfold. Lin Yi had just upgraded Elf Fountain to middle level, consuming 10,000 gold coins and 5,000 units of stone. Now when he looked at the conditions required to upgrade high-level fairy fountain, the corner of his mouth suddenly twitched. According to this multiple, if he wants to upgrade Elf Fountain to the full level, wouldn't he need a full million gold coins, plus 500,000 units of stone? Horrible. After all, that 1 million is Lord's gold coin. Converted into the world's common gold coins, that's 10 million gold coins. How much fairy spring water does this cost? Well, not much to think about. The batch of elven spring water that old butler Huodin took away just now is worth tens of millions of gold coins, and it is only 1/5 of the amount of elf spring. If they are all sold, tens of millions of gold coins will be directly recorded in the account. In such a comparison, the upgrade cost of Elf Fountain seems to be nothing. The most important thing is that the Elf Fountain after reaching the maximum level can give birth to real water of life, which is a bottle worth at least 100,000 gold coins. Not to mention the upgrade cost has increased tenfold. Even if it increases 100 times, it is still worth it. Then Lin Yi came to the Altar of Luck again, and also upgraded the Altar of Luck to the middle level at the cost of consuming 10,000 gold coins and 5,000 units of stone. Now, my wallet is completely empty. Now, he only has a few hundred gold coins left in his hand. In these nearly 3 days, he harvested a total of about 30,000 gold coins, and upgraded the town hall, elf fountain, and altar of luck respectively. Naturally, they were completely consumed. However, there are still a lot of wood and stones. Thanks to the efforts of nearly 10,000 sand people, Lin Yi's territory has stored more than 250,000 units of wood and hundreds of thousands of units of stone. There are so many basic resources that cannot be used up. It's 12 o'clock at night. A new day has come again. Lin Yi did not recruit troops this time. What he thought was that if the old butler Huodin returned from Forest City with a large amount of gold coins during the day, then he could upgrade the military building and recruit more Royal Griffin Knights. Level 5 Royal Griffin Knight Training can recruit 100 Royal Griffin Knights every day. He now has more than 1,800 Royal Griffin Knights. 100 more or 100 less doesn't matter. So no need to be too anxious. If the old butler Huodin hasn't returned by night, it won't be too late to recruit him. In addition, the aura of Lucky Altar, which Lin Yi focuses on, has finally been refreshed in the new week. Lucky Altar. Level. Middle level. Current Halo attributes. The growth rate of animals raised in the territory is increased by 10 times, and the fertility rate is increased by the same proportion. Closing square bracket. Next level. High level altar. Upgrade requirements. 100,000 gold coins, 50,000 units of stone. Special reminder. When the level of the Lucky Altar reaches the full level, you can make sacrifices. You can obtain a halo with higher gain attributes by donating resources or treasures, and you have a chance to obtain special items. Closing square bracket. Look at the newly refreshed halo buff of Altar of Luck. Lin Yi was silent for a long time. To be honest, he was disappointed. Although this halo is also awesome. Take the Silvertails he cultivated as an example. With the aura of 10 times the growth rate, the Silvertails that originally had a growth cycle of 30 days now only need 3 days to grow. After the first batch of Silvertails grow up, they can immediately reproduce and lay eggs. The eggs take 3 days to turn into big fish. Then you can continue to lay eggs. A week is enough for the Silvertails in Sapphire Lake to overflow. The same goes for desert coyotes and moose kept in livestock ranches. Soon he would have access to large quantities of meat. For a long time to come, he would no longer have to worry about food. But the problem is, he is not short of food now either. What is lacking is a method to enhance the overall strength of the territory. Originally, the aura attribute of Altar of Luck was to enhance the combat effectiveness of the territory's troops by 50%. Now that the aura is gone, the overall strength of the territory has been reduced a lot. System, can the aura of the Lucky Altar be refreshed? Add more money. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. The Lord system responded to Lin Yi's mind with a series of question marks. Then, there is no more. Quote. Now that the matter has come to this, I can only hope that the old housekeeper and Sophia can bring me a surprise. Lin Yi no longer thought about it, turned around and returned to the backyard of the town hall, hugging the soft and smooth little body of the maid Sally, and fell asleep beautifully. Early morning. When Lin Yi was still asleep. The Royal Griffin Knights team has successfully arrived at Forest City. You need to pay a head tax of 1 gold coin to enter the city. Lin Yi had already wiped out all the gold coins on the old butler Huodin, so naturally he couldn't take them out. But this was just a small problem. A red dragon fruit worth at least 10 gold coins was handed over, and the group entered the city smoothly. Let's make some inquiries about the location of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. Meet here in 2 hours. The old butler Huodin said to a group of Royal Holy Knights. Okay. A group of Royal Holy Knights quickly dispersed. Before entering the city, they had collected their golden griffins into the riding space, so no one paid special attention to them. The search for the Crystal Chamber of Commerce was not going well. The old butler Huodin had rich experience and immediately went to the Commerce and Trade Guild in Forest City to inquire about the relevant information of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. There are many chambers of commerce with the word crystal in their names. But when the old butler Huodin went door to door, he found that there was no one he was looking for. This made the old housekeeper Huodin couldn't help but suspect that Miss Sophia was a liar. It was not until noon that a royal holy knight finally found out that someone had auctioned a large amount of fairy spring water at the Bohemia auction house last night. Make frequent in-depth inquiries. It was finally confirmed that the auctioneer was the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. This is a good news. But soon, the next question came. No one knows where the Crystal Chamber of Commerce is located. The old butler Huodin did not get any more information at Bohemia auction house. The forest city is so big, where can I find people? The old butler Huodin frowned. A royal holy knight suggested, we can use the Bohemia auction house as the center to search nearby neighborhoods. Or we can directly find some local snakes who are familiar with this neighborhood and use their power to help us search. Good idea. The old butler Huodin immediately agreed. Then he led a group of royal holy knights into a nearby shop, and exchanged a bottle of middle-level fairy spring water for nearly 4,000 gold coins. Under the offensive of money power, the neighborhood rats sprang into action. Rat is a derogatory term for low-level people such as hoodlums, homeless people, idle gang members, etc. Although this kind of people are not doing business, they are very professional in seeking information. Sure enough, it didn't take long for good news to come. The location of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce has been found. Which wave is this today? 7th wave, miss. The resident hall of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. Sophia sent a group of Chamber of Commerce people away with a smile on her face. He turned around and rubbed his stiff face again, and said to the old mage Simon, we are still too high profile. Even though the person in charge of the Bohemia auction house said that he would keep it secret, some people still found out about us through various methods, information. In just one morning, 7 businessmen came to our door and wanted to cooperate with us. The old mage Simon shook his head and said, the purpose of these people is not simple. They want to know where we got so much elven spring water. Fortunately, this is a forest city, otherwise our troubles would be even greater. Sophia said, we can only finish the remaining matters quickly and then go to the Golden Oasis. Stay in the Golden Oasis for a while and come back after the storm has passed. Old mage Simon nodded. Just at this time, a staff member came in to report that someone had come to visit. Sophia said without thinking, if you don't see me, just say I'm not feeling well. The staff member said, President, the person here claims to be your friend, named Huodin. In addition, he is accompanied by a group of professionals dressed as knights. Hodern. Sophia was confused at first. Then he seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed drastically. I understand, please come in. Okay, President. The staff exited the hall. Sophia said with an ugly expression, Hodern, the Lord's old housekeeper. We just returned to Forest City yesterday, and he followed us here. Master Simon, does this mean that the Lord does not trust us? It's normal to not trust. The old mage Simon was very open-minded and said, after all, it is goods worth millions of gold coins. Others would be more cautious. Having said that, it's still a little uncomfortable. Sophia's mood suddenly deteriorated. She believed that she worked hard and always thought about returning to the Golden Oasis as soon as possible and handing the gold coins into the hands of the Lord. She had no idea of being greedy for this treasure. However, the Lord was on guard against her. This gave her a bitterness that could not be described in words. It's just a deal after all. Maybe after this transaction is over, the Lord will part ways with me. There is no point in thinking about it anymore. Sophia quickly put away the complicated thoughts in her heart. After a while, a group of heavily armed royal holy knights entered the Chamber of Commerce. The leader was none other than the old butler Huodin whom she had met in the Golden Oasis. When the old mage Simon saw the group, he took a sharp breath. Because he discovered that both the old butler Huodin and the knights following him had all reached the king level. When they entered the Golden Oasis a few days ago, they didn't see even a king-level professional. So many king levels suddenly appeared. Go into the lobby. The old butler Huodin first saluted Simon, who was also a magician. Then he looked at Sophia and said with a smile, Miss Sophia, we meet again. A smile appeared on Sophia's delicate cheeks and she said, it's just the right time for the housekeeper to come. Our Chamber of Commerce just sold the batch of fairy spring water last night, and you arrived the next day. Old housekeeper Huodine seemed unable to hear the hidden meaning in Sophia's words. After sitting down, he said with a smile on his face, I went to the trade guild, but unexpectedly found that Miss Sophia's crystal trade guild was not listed in the guild. Sophia explained. I don't know, Mr. Butler, that if you want to be listed in the guild, in addition to completing several prescribed trading tasks, you also need to open a trade route. We went to Bastion City before, also because we wanted to open a trade route. I see. The old butler Huodine suddenly understood. This Crystal Chamber of Commerce has just been established. Although it has the name of a Chamber of Commerce, it is not yet a real Chamber of Commerce. However, none of this matters. My young master said, no matter the Crystal Chamber of Commerce or the Blue Crystal Chamber of Commerce, as long as it can handle things, it is a good Chamber of Commerce. At this time, Sophia took out a crystal card from the space equipment she carried with her and said, this crystal card contains about 6.7 million gold coins, which was obtained from the sale of the fairy spring water. Since you're here, I'll leave it to you. As for the commission, we can discuss it later after I sell those red dragon fruits. That's fine. The old butler Huodine took the crystal card over. After a pause, he said, Miss Sophia, I came to Forest City this time on the order of the Lord. I have other things to do, and I still need Miss Sophia's help. Of course, after the matter is settled, the commission will not be reduced by half a point. Sophia blurted out, I'm not here to monitor. Before she finished speaking, she paused awkwardly. The old butler Huodine said with a smile, since the Lord has entrusted the matter to you, he naturally trusts you. There is no saying that he specially sent me here to follow and monitor. He told the truth. If it hadn't happened with Dragon Charles, he wouldn't have appeared in Forest City. Hearing this, the depression in Sophia's heart suddenly disappeared without a trace. A bright smile also bloomed on her delicate cheeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Butler, I'm overthinking it. I just thought. It doesn't matter. If there is a misunderstanding, it would be great if it is resolved. The old housekeeper Huodine said with a smile. When I failed to find information about the Crystal Chamber of Commerce in the Trade Association, I also suspected that Miss Sophia was a liar. This is pretty straightforward. Sophia and the old mage Simon were both speechless. However, they were not angry because they were suspected of being liars. Instead, after this incident, they felt that their relationship with the Lord was one step closer. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.